Blue Jays. That'll get underway in about 2 hours. And also today, your chance to win a pair of tickets to see STFC in an upcoming match against Austin FC May 31st. Once again, like we did yesterday, be listening for a goal call from their play-by-play voice, Adrian Garcia Marquez. You'll hear it every hour. When you hear a call, 877-767-4760, and call for a chance to qualify to win those tickets. We'll qualify listeners in the 2, 3, 4, and 5 o'clock hours, and then announce a winner right around 5:30. So one of you is going home with 2 free tickets to see STFC Austin FC May 31st, Snapdragon Stadium. It has a beach towel giveaway as well. We'll give those away once again here today. Finally, though, Padres will be back in action. We'll hear from Mike Schilt coming up pregame. Padres Blue Jays in 2 hours. Padres off an off day, Jim. We've talked about that. That's been beneficial for them before. They're coming off a sweep at the hands, obviously, of Seattle and looking to bounce back with Dylan Cease on the mound here this afternoon against Chris Bassett for the Blue Jays.
There's nothing better for a baseball team than after getting swept or just having like a really awful series than an off day.
Yeah.
Maybe, nothing better than an off day in Toronto. Now, I've never been to Toronto before, but I've heard it's great. I've heard nothing but great things about Toronto.
I've also never been there.
It's a place I do want to go. Like, it's on the bucket list of places I want to go.
Aaron, forget about Hawaii for the honeymoon.
Yeah, screw Hawaii. Let's go to Toronto, babe. We need to watch the Padres 3-game series at the Rogers Center, the newly renovated Rogers Center.
Oh, she'd be thrilled.
She would. You know what?
Get a hotel room overlooking left field.
Yes.
She'd love that.
We can just watch the game and be in our hotel room.
It's so fun.
How you doing? The funny thing is last night, I told her about the card show. And
the card show that I'm going to this weekend?
Yes. And I said, me and John were talking, and I told her about, the situation where, what would you say if I honestly was like, hey, I can't go to Hawaii this weekend. I'm instead going to the card show with John.
I'm going to the local card show over my Hawaiian honeymoon with you.
Yes. Now I want you to guess what she said to me.
I mean, my guess is she laughed in your face and just completely kind of disregarded it. Would be my guess.
There was that, but then I said, look, if I was serious, if I was 100% serious, and I said, I'm not going to Hawaii. Instead, I'm staying home and I'm going to this card show with John.
Yeah.
What would you do? And she goes, I would say you need help. And I go, whoa. You wouldn't want a divorce? She's like, no, but I would seriously question like what's wrong with you. And I'd make you see like a therapist. And I was like,
you're going to need
not
one.
What I expected, but okay.
You're going to need one because here's what happened last night, Brent, because I'm sending Jim like pictures of like auctions. I'm like winning. And all of his Jim is so mad because Jim's very compulsive that by me doing this for 2 consecutive weeks, I've basically made Jim more like degenerate with cards than I have been over the last 2 weeks. He is going to waste money on cards and it's coming soon. He's going to spend like $400 on a Pokemon card or $600 on a Steph card, and it's coming sooner rather than later. And I'm going to laugh at his face. It's going to be all my fault when that does happen, but it's coming sooner rather than later.
You're 100% correct on that one, because as of right now, when I go to eBay, John, and I look in my cart, there are 2 cards in my cart that total $569.
But you always have things in your cart. The question is where you pull the trigger. That's the question. What do you got, Brian?
Jim, you should have just doubled down on it when she was just like, there's something wrong with you that you want to go to Hawaii or you want to go to a card show instead of Hawaii. You should have went, I think there's something wrong with you that you want to go to Hawaii instead of going to the card show.
Exactly.
Why wouldn't you want to go to a card show, babe? Where you could
they got a 96 Griffey there. Yeah, they don't have that in Hawaii.
You could look at a PSA 10 Shadowless first edition Charizard worth like almost $1 million. Why wouldn't you want to do that instead of go to Hawaii?
I've never met someone that is as into sports as Jim that is so, but his first order of business with cards is always Pokemon. Where like, if you're a diehard, I feel like most diehard sports fans, if they're choosing between Pokemon and like Kobe Bryant or Tony Gwynn or Steph Curry, like they're going to lean sports cards over Magic the Gathering or whatever Jim collects or wants to collect. Like I'm not into the It's fringe enough to be doing sports cards.
Fringe.
But once I get off the path and go to Pokemon and whatever that is, that's way out of my realm.
I would argue that Pokemon card collecting is bigger than like baseball card collecting by like a good amount.
Well, then I would argue that people have problems.
Yes. It
may be true. It may be true. I would just argue that it shouldn't be true.
But it is.
Because Pokemon's never hit 50 home runs in a season. He's never hit 700 in his career.
But
he's never scored 81 in a game.
But has packs of baseball cards, like booster box packs, ever sold for $3.5 million?
See, I don't have the data on that. My guess is no.
Probably not. I'm just saying Pokemon cards are definitely just only going to go up. Like now I know baseball cards as well, but
not really.
I think from looking online and looking at some of the cards that I've looked at compared to some of the cards that are out there for like baseball, basketball, football cards, like yes, the one of one Patrick Mahomes rookie cards, like Tom Brady cards, like those are expensive. But just on a whole, I think on a whole Pokemon cards it's a bigger collection and
let's do this.
Appreciation's going up.
Let's do this. Because we've got this YouTube channel plus the radio show plus Run iHeart. We have the wrap-up show on YouTube. What do you think about starting a card channel? Half of it will be sports cards.
No.
Half of it will be Pokemon cards. We'll be buying everywhere.
You know why?
We got to tell you can do it from Hawaii.
No.
On the honeymoon.
No.
On the helicopter ride over the volcano. You can be selling Pokemon 99s.
No.
To pay for the helicopter.
No.
Who says no?
It's not going to. No. Because one, don't have the money to do it. Two, if I had the money, I would get divorced. Right. Three, it's no.
It's a bad idea for you.
To just be in the helicopter making it rain into the volcano.
Yeah, exactly. With all that cash, man, that you're going to be pulling in. All right, Padres Blue Jays coming up again in about 2 hours. We're going to hear from Mike Schilt pregame. Jeff Sanders put it into really good words, explaining the Padres left field struggles that we'll share for you coming up as well. Kurt Heelan is on the show, lead NBA writer, managing editor at NBCSports.com. Will get us ready for the Western Conference Finals. You know, how important is tonight? They've lost 3 straight coming in. They're coming off the Monday off day. Jackson Merrill struggling. Manny Machado hitless in that series against the Seattle Mariners. Dylan Cease, one of your aces, along with Michael King on the mound. One of those opportunities where you don't want to squander it with Dylan Cease on the mound, and you're taking on Chris Bassett, who's had a very good year. Like, how important is tonight for a Padres team that's 13-15 in their last 28 games?
Must-win game.
No, it's not. But I mean, we'll react a little more heavily, I feel like, tonight if they don't win it, right? Because of what happened against Seattle, because of the way they've played the last month. Like, you want to get back to where you were. I mean, 13-15 over 28. I really hadn't looked at it like that until you talked about it yesterday. Because the 14-3 start was incredible, but 13-15 over the last 28 days, like now 28 games. At some point, that's going to be a concern. You lose 2 out of 3 here. All of a sudden, you're 14-17 in your last 31. Like, you don't want that to compound moving forward.
Would you agree they're a streaky team? Because
they seem like they have been. Yes,
I think they're a streaky team. I think that they go into hot and cold stretches, and ever since their 14-3 start, they just haven't been consistent.
Mm-hmm.
Record shows it. 13-15. They'll win 4 or 5 series, and then they'll get swept at home. Like what?
Yeah.
And it's happened twice this year. So it's not just one time, it's twice.
Mm-hmm.
That during that 3-8 stretch, they were losing series. And then what happened? They won 6 in a row.
Right.
So like they can flip the switch because they've done it this year so far. After a just awful 3-11 stretch where in the midst there, in that stretch, they got swept at home. They had that off day and they took on the Giants. And yes, they got Luis Ariz back, but it just they look like a completely different team.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm gonna bank on just that's what's gonna start happening on this road trip because they've already done it one time this year where they played really bad baseball, off day followed by really, really good baseball.
Right.
I'm just gonna go with the law of averages here. It's a small, sample size, but I think an off day yesterday helped this team. I think this road trip is going to be a good road trip. Could be wrong, but I do think that's what it's going to be like because they are a streaky bunch.
Dylan Cease since Sacramento, and Sacramento was like fake, even though the A's have been good. But since Sacramento, in 6 starts, he's got a 3.06. So he's been much improved in his last 6 starts. He's coming off an outing against the Angels in which he struck out 10 in 6 2/3 innings. The outing before that, he was flirting with that no-hitter at Yankee Stadium. He struck out 9 in 6 2/3 innings. Are we in the midst of a stretch, Jim, where Dylan Cease is Dylan Cease like we saw at times a year ago? Are we still looking for like that one more gear from Dylan Cease to get back to the pitcher that we saw in 2024?
No, this is the gear that
I agree.
That the 2024 gear, I guess.
I agree.
This is what he is. You just read it, but yeah, his last couple starts have been
really good.
And we talked about it, that we're waiting for a Dylan Cease to put together like that 4, 5, 6 stretch where he's just really dominant. He's in the middle of that right now. So I expect Dylan Cease today to get this team off on the right foot on this road trip. I expect him to pitch very well. And I do expect this team to have a good road trip, even though it is, like you said, it's a sneaky, tough road trip through Toronto and Atlanta. Atlanta's playing much better. Their record since the 0-7 start,
been one of the best teams in baseball.
Very good.
Yeah.
And so they are going to be a scary team, I feel like, later this year. They're going to get Acuna back. I think they're going to also get Strider back as well. It's going to be a sneaky, tough road trip, but I do think the Padres are going to play much better after getting their ass kicked over the weekend by the Mariners.
All right. On the other side, a stat that speaks to some of the Padres' struggles overall, plus Jeff Sanders of the UT explaining the Padres' left field struggles. He put it very well. Also, be listening for that goal call sounder from Adrian Garcia Marquez. When you hear it, call 877-767-4760 for a chance to qualify to win SDFC tickets for May 31st at Snapdragon Stadium. Don't go anywhere. Just underway. John and Jim, San Diego Sports 760, live on the iHeartRadio app. All right, John and Jim, San Diego Sports 760. Be listening for that SDFC goal call. When you hear a call, 877-767-4760 for a chance to qualify to win SDFC tickets for May 31st. We'll share the Padres lineup with you momentarily. Jason Hayward's back in it. He's been basically out of it for the last week. We will hear from Mike Schild prior to today's game in Toronto. Listen to this, Jim. A couple of stats for you. All right. The Padres against American League teams are 10-14 this year. So they're opening a 3-game series in Toronto. They have really struggled against American League teams. Now, we mentioned this the other day, too. I had this, I think, in the wrap-up show. Not only do the Padres have the worst OPS among left fielders, Jim, 483, it's 50 points worse than any other team. So their OPS has been horrific at 483. There's no one remotely close. Listen to this. This is getting in the weeds, but this will make it make sense. You know that like OPS plus number of like 100 is league average, 110 is 10% better than league average, 90 is 10% worse.
Yeah.
Their number there is 39, 61% worse than league average. You could throw me and you out there. Maybe not.
No, definitely not you.
But they are 61% below league average at left field. So now I'm fully on board with what you've been saying. It's like they've wanted a good enough clip, but they're getting away with it in left field. It's not sustainable. I don't think they can continue to play this game until July 31st, and it is a must upgrade regardless of the team's record come July 31st. An absolute must.
Preach,
right? It's just a must. I don't care what the record is.
I agree. You cannot go out there with that big of a black hole in your lineup. You know, you can get away with stuff. And if you're a bad baseball team, then who cares?
Mm-hmm.
You know, if you're the White Sox or the Rockies, who cares? But you are a team that has some pretty lofty goals this year, like competing for a division, winning a World Series, getting to a World Series, getting back to the postseason. You know, all those things are on the checklist in certain order.
You're right.
For the Padres this year. It is not a checklist of, you know, we'll see what happens at the end of the season. Like, no, there's lofty goals here for this franchise right now for this year. And if you want to hit those goals or get anywhere close to those goals, you have to put out the best team possible. And this is not the best team you possibly can have because you are playing with a giant black hole in left field. And in your lineup, I mean, I know that they put the universal DH in, but you might as well just put a pitcher out there if this is going to be the production that you're going to get from your left fielder, honestly.
I mean, we have joked about that. I mean, it's been that poor, and it's not anything beyond that. It's not personal. It's not Jason Hayward that I'm really being critical of. I mean, the Padres kind of put him in this situation. You got this aging left fielder that was asked to fill a role that was a reach, and we said it in the offseason. Look at his last 2 or 3 years. Then you say, well, Brandon Lockridge, can he do it as a regular? No. Why would he be a regular? He's a 4th or 5th outfielder. What about Gavin Sheets? He hasn't played left field. What would make you think that he can play the position serviceably? So they're trying to get cute, but in the major leagues, it's hard to do that.
You cannot have a roster spot be filled that gets at like a lot of playing time with a guy that his best quality that he brings to the table is his veteran leadership.
Right. We've had that conversation before. Yep.
If he's the 26th man on this roster and barely plays at all, and it doesn't matter, and he's just maybe getting a couple pinch hit opportunities and whatnot, and then you can go with the, he brings a lot of veteran leadership to the club. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
If you're winning, okay. But Jason Hayward's getting like a lot of playing time. He's not just getting 1 day a week. Now, it might end up being that way, but who's behind Jason Hayward? You don't have anybody else behind Jason Hayward. Brandon Lockridge, that ain't it. Gavin Sheets in left, that ain't it. You know, you can't have a roster spot be filled by a guy that when he has when you're asking about his best quality, it's his leadership when he's getting a lot of playing time. Like, nah, sorry, nope.
Yeah, that doesn't work. He's hit, listen to that, since 2021, the start of 2021, that's 5 years. Jason Hayward has hit 226 with a 681 OPS. Listen to this. In 400 games, nearly, he's homered 36 times. It's well past time. So, and I know what people are going to tell me, Jim. You know, you were calling out Jason Hayward. He had 2 hits and so we're talking about 162. Okay. Every player over 162 is going to have a 2-hit game. Every single one of them, if you plugged them in there, are going to have an RBI base hit or a home run. There's not a player in the big leagues that's going to play 150 games and not homer other than Tyler Wade, right? So, I mean, listen, he's going to have a game or two. It's the consistency that they're really lacking in left field. And it goes beyond that. There'll be options. It's not like you're looking for a starting pitcher. That's way more of a premium at the trade deadline. Of course, you can find a starting outfielder. Of course, you can do that. But I would argue go do it sooner rather than later. Do we need to really wait until deadline season? The way Preller works the phones, can you get on the phone now? He did it with Luis Ariz, and it was actually earlier than this. Can you get on the phone June 1st and make an upgrade? Why do we have to wait 2.5 months and watch this when we know they're going to make an upgrade at some point?
He's going to make an upgrade. Like
I agree.
I believe that AJ will make an upgrade. There's no doubt about it in my mind. He did that last year with Luis Ariz very early on in the season.
Mm-hmm.
That was around. Was it around?
I think it was a little earlier when he got here. I'll take a look at his first game.
Was it in April?
It may have been. It was certainly by early May.
It was very early.
Super early. His first game as a San Diego Padre was May 4th.
Okay, so we're past that point, May 20th. But still, track record shows that AJ has made moves in May to upgrade the team. And that was a big one last year, getting an all-star.
Yeah.
I don't know where he could go. I've been, screaming out the name Tyler Ward, whatever his name is.
Taylor Ward.
Sorry. Yeah. From the Angels, who his average, it's not great. He's hitting either around 200 or whatever. The dude's got like 13, 14 home runs this year.
Yeah, we'll take that. That's more than 2.
That would lead the Padres.
It wouldn't be it would be close because of Tatis.
But still, he would be one of the leaders on the Padres in home runs.
Right.
Regardless of him hitting 200. So there are players out there that they can get. And there's a lot of upgrades over Jason Hayward and Brandon Lockridge out there that you can go and get for a low-level prospect. He can make that happen. And I do believe that he's going to. I don't think they're going to wait until the trade deadline. Now, the money part of it, fitting the money in, Taylor Ward is a guy that is making $7 million this year, and he's under team control for next year as well. So maybe you want to wait till the deadline so that number goes down, so you're not paying close to the $7 million. But at the same time, how long can you wait? Now, I know we're talking a lot about the left field spot, and it's been awful this season. There's no doubt about it. Ask anybody in that organization with true serum, they would tell you it's awful. Do not listen to this team if they're trying to tell you how their left fielders this year have done a good job for them. Mm-hmm. They haven't. But, going out and upgrading that position is going to have to happen. It's going to have to happen. And they aren't losing these games because of left fielder. It's a part of it. And it's a part that needs to be addressed.
Completely agree. And again, does it limit your ceiling? Yeah, it's got to limit your ceiling. It has to. All right, Padres lineup is out. We'll share it with you on the other side. The one player to look into or look towards for a breakout game tonight. We'll share that with you coming up as well. Again, be listening for that STFC goal call. When you hear it, call 877-767-4760 for a chance to qualify to win STFC tickets for May 31st. It's John and Jim on San Diego Sports 760 and live on the iHeartRadio app.
All right, this update is brought to you by Rapid Radios. Padres and Blue Jays start a 3-game series today in Toronto. 4:05 first pitch. Dylan Cease on the mound for the Padres. And the Western Conference Finals in the NBA get started tonight. The Oklahoma City Thunder hosting the Minnesota Timberwolves. Tip-off is at 5:30. And tomorrow, the Eastern Conference Finals tips off in New York. Rapid Radios are instant push-to-talk walkie-talkies offering national LTE coverage and no subscription ever. Perfect for instant contact with an aging parent for a limited time. Go to rapidradios.com and you'll get an extra 60% off and free UPS shipping. Add code radio and get an extra 5% off.
All right, John and Jim, San Diego Sports 760. Be listening for that goal call. When you hear it, call 877-767-4760 for a chance to qualify to win SDFC tickets May 31st. We'll qualify someone this hour, 3 p.m., 4 p.m., and 5 p.m. hours. Announce the winner coming up at 5:30. All right, here's the Padres lineup, Jim. In Toronto, Fernando Tatis Jr. is in right. Luis Arraez is at first. Manny's at third. Jackson Merrill's in center field. Xander is the shortstop hitting fifth. Gavin Sheets DHs. Jake Cronenworth is the second baseman batting seventh. Jason Hayward's in left. So Hayward back in there in left batting eighth against a righty. Martin Maldonado is the catcher for Dylan Cease.
Okay. Nothing surprising there. But
other than just Hayward's back in, as we've talked about.
And you know, you mentioned this the other day. There's not been many, as the Twitterverse and too much more and says dubbed it, friendship innings with the Padres.
It was like singling someone to death,
Yeah,
4
like,
or 5 run innings without grand slams or 3-run home runs.
Yeah, turning over the lineup.
Yeah.
When you have Hayward and Maldonado batting back to back 8-9, you're not turning over the lineup many times, like if at all in a game.
Good point.
And so you're basically throwing a 7-man lineup out there with 2 pitchers hitting the bottom of your lineup.
Right.
That is the problem with this team. Not all the time, but when you have an 8-9 of Hayward and Maldonado, you're just asking for trouble if your top 4 do not have great nights.
Well said. I mean, it really is well said. A year ago, that depth was displayed by these just savvy signings, these David Peraltas for Fernando Tatis Jr. for 2 months coming through, the Donovan Solanos coming through consistently, Kyle Higashioka consistently delivering. That's not necessarily this team. Now, what this team does have, and you've said it before, is a top 4 that's basically as good as any team other than the Dodgers. When you've got Tatis, Arraez, Machado, Merrill, that's legitimate. But we knew that from day one. It's about the rest of the lineup. Will the rest of the lineup be good enough? And I would say so far, not really. Bogarts has had flashes. Sheets absolutely has had flashes, but guys like Cronenworth have been hurt. And then Hayward and Maldonado, you just illustrated. It's not good enough.
So last year's team, we talk about last year's team and compared to this year's team, you know, the bottom of last year's team's lineup, I'm just looking at the triple play game against the Dodgers late in September. So that's the lineup going into the postseason. All right. Here's the bottom of the lineup. Jake Cronenworth, Donovan Solano, Kyle Higashioka. Jake Cronenworth, you know, 720 OPS last year. Okay. Donovan Solano last year is hitting 284 with a 751 OPS. Incredible. I mean, look what he's doing in Seattle right now. It's awful. And then Kyle Higashioka, who had 18 home runs for you, is at 9th. He had a 734 OPS for you. The bottom of this lineup completely just flipped on its head. And by flipped on its head, I mean, it's awful.
Yeah, no 700 OPSs, no 800 OPSs. I mean, we're talking about guys with 400.
Merrill's hitting 5th. Bogarts is hitting 6th.
Right, so it's a little deeper.
Because you have Profar in there, and the production you got from Profar in left field was all-star level. And you've gone from all-star level production in left field to like the worst left fielder in the sport.
I do wonder, though. I agree with everything you said. Have they the rob Peter to pay Paul? I mentioned this yesterday. Analogy is there. We knew they weren't getting the production once Profar left. We said it all offseason. But are they getting it elsewhere? And not offensively, but is their pitching better? Is their bullpen better? Is their staff overall better? Because a year ago, I'm just looking at runs scored, runs against right now. And like this pitching staff, team ERA, I don't have it in front of me from last year, is considerably better than last year. So yeah, the offense is taking a tick backwards, but the pitching is taking a tick forwards. And that's how you get a team that's 9 games over 500 at 45 games in.
Yeah, I could buy that.
That's my theory.
I could definitely get on that side of, okay, you lost, some elite production from your catcher spot last year and an all-star left fielder, but you gained a solid number 3 starter who has been really good for you this year, albeit like one random game in Colorado where the guy sucks, every time he pitches there. And you have Jason Adam for a full year in the bullpen.
Mm-hmm.
Jeremiah Estrada didn't really get into his role until the middle of last year, and now he is firmly like on the A team. He's a guy that is going to be, in close game situations for you. Yeah, yes and no. There are things about this year's team that last year's team didn't have, obviously at this point too. But you're putting so much pressure on yourself when you lose that much offense and you don't replace it.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, again, last year's team by the end, we talked about this yesterday, was more complete than this year's team today. And maybe that's okay because today's May 20th and it's not October 1st. And maybe between now and October 1st, they upgrade 2 ways. Maybe you, Darvish, someone like that, is paying dividends for you in the second half of the year. And then maybe Preller, with his abilities at deadlines, improves this roster. I think both are realistic, that Darvish can help, the trade deadline can help, and that they're in a position comparable to last year. It's hard to say. It's May 20th. I cannot guarantee they're going 43-19 down the stretch. I promise you that. In fact, it's very likely, even if they're a playoff team, they're not playing like that entering the playoffs. Because who plays like that entering the playoffs? Very few teams close 43-19.
Like, imagine if this team just had a league average left fielder. Like give me a league average left fielder. Where would this team be at? Or a league average at the plate catcher.
It's a good point. Yep.
And they just don't have that. They don't have that. They don't even have close to that.
Right.
Like, not even close. Maldonado, Diaz, Hayward, Lockridge, they've given you not a lot this year. Now, Diaz and Maldonado have given you a couple moments because they've actually hit some home runs in some key spots, but you're not going to get much more than that, really.
Right.
So can they upgrade to just like league average in those positions? You're not asking
you
for
don't need
all-star.
all-stars. You don't need Jerkson Profar last year's first half.
No.
Right.
Can you upgrade to league average? Because if you can upgrade to just like league average, I think that will do a world difference.
Yeah, and some of it is maybe like, it's right in front of your face when you're not winning. And I still think, that's why I said earlier, though, I think even if you're winning, you have to address it. Because at some point, it's going to catch up to you. It's a lot easier for me to be critical today coming off the 3-game home sweep of Seattle. If they had just swept that series, I mean, the difference is monumental because you're 9 over 500. If you swept that series, you're 15 over because you went in at 12. I wouldn't be talking about it. I'd be like, they're 15 games over 500. It's one of the best starts in the history of the San Diego Padres. It would be all about that. But when you do lose at home, I mean, these are disappointing series. You get swept by Tampa at home. When you get swept by Seattle at home, I would argue they shouldn't be swept by anyone at home. Anyone.
I agree with that.
So when you see it, and again, I'm not going to be critical. I can't be critical for 2 consecutive days of Manny Machado because he went 0 for 12 in the series when he's hitting 317. I can't completely go all in on Manny at 317.
But when they do get swept at home, or if they do sweep a team at home, rarely is it because the left fielder, whoever it is, or their catcher, whoever it is, had a hot series.
Right.
Like sweep, no sweep, win 2 or 3, lose 2 or 3. In almost every scenario, whoever's in left field and whoever's behind the plate are going to have bad series.
Mm-hmm.
So what that tells me is when they get swept at home, that means their top 4 had a bad series.
Right.
When they sweep somebody at home, their top 4 had a great series. When 2 or 3 at home, their top 4 had a really good series. I can bet you if you look at all their wins this year, more often than not, the top 4 in their lineup, maybe add Bogarts in there a couple times and add Gavin Sheets in there a couple times, are going to have like combined good games.
You're right. I would agree with that.
So
if we're asking Manny, and I agree with you.
Yeah.
I'm just saying for Padres fans, and I read Kevin's piece on Manny today, 2,000 words about what he has meant to the organization since they brought him in 2019, and I agree with a lot of it. But if we're gonna ask Manny to pick up the slack for 8-9, for example, and hit 340 all year, we're probably not going to get that. Like he's probably going to hit 288. Mm-hmm. He's probably going to hit 25 plus home runs, but he's not going to hit 340 with 28 plus home runs. He's not going to bail you out all season long because he's not Shohei Ohtani in his prime. That's not the offensive player that he's likely going to be this year. So he's going to need help, but he's got it with Merrill, Tatis, Arise, hopefully as well.
And the problem is when he doesn't get the help from those couple players that you said, because those guys can have all collectively bad games. Mm-hmm. There's nobody behind him or behind them to pick up the slack.
All right, a reminder, when you hear that goal, call 877-767-4760 for a chance to qualify to win 2 free tickets to see SDFC taking on Austin FC at Snapdragon Stadium May 31st. On the other side, the one player tonight we're looking towards for a breakout game for the Padres. We will hear from Mike Schilt pregame. Kurt Heelan, lead NBA writer, NBCSports.com, will join us at 3:30. It's John and Jim on San Diego Sports 760 and live on the iHeartRadio app.
Chucky Irving, Chucky Lozano, wait, Chuk, boom!
All right, San Diego Sports 760 has 13 chances to win $1,000 every weekday. It's the Bonus Bucks giveaway every hour from 6 a.m. through 6 p.m. That includes hours coming up 3, 4, and 5. Listen for the keyword, then enter it at sportssd.com. John and Jim with you. Kurt Heelan, really good NBA writer and editor, NBCSports.com. He will help us preview the upcoming conference finals at 3:30. Listen to this, Jim. Okay, I crunched the numbers. I looked at all the Padres against Chris Bassett. I mean, I didn't really look at it. I just saw on the web. But Xander Bogaerts has owned Chris Bassett. There's the John Jenks. He is 5 for 9 lifetime. Now he hasn't like homered. It's not like he's 5 for 9 with 5 home runs. But he's
field singles.
Exactly. I mean, it's Xander Bogaerts. But he's 5 for 9 lifetime against Chris Bassett. Is this going to be the Xander Bogaerts game tonight in Toronto? Is that how we'll remember May 20th, 2025? Xander Bogaerts, a couple of home runs, a couple of doubles.
End of the year, Padres won 97 games.
Right. We remember
it all started on May 20th.
Turning point?
In Toronto. Turning point?
Is this a turning point game tonight? If they win it behind Xander.
Ooh.
You like that?
I think the turning point's it's how you get the win tonight to determine if it's a true turning point or not.
Right. You can't you're saying if they win 5-0, it's not a turning point. But if they overcome a 4-run deficit to win, snap a 3-game losing streak,
then it's a turning point.
Is that a turning point? There actually was a turning point last year in June. It was Philadelphia. If you looked at before and after, everything changed.
Well, you can only determine a turning point once the season's over.
Agreed. Completely.
You can't dub something the turning point in season.
Yeah, how do you know?
Because you don't know.
Right.
You could say maybe this is like a turning point. But you just don't know.
Right.
Didn't we say it was didn't we have already a turning point game this year already? I feel like we already did.
Absolutely, we've had a turning point game.
Was it the Giants series after they went 3-11 or 3-8 in those 11 games? Or was it that Yankees game when they came back to win late in the game?
That was their 6th straight win.
Yeah, so it wasn't really a turning point.
Wasn't there an Atlanta?
That was like that was signature win game.
Who was their early come from behind win against? Was it Chicago in game 3 of that 3-game series at Wrigley? Did they come back to win that game?
You can't say something's a turning point in game 10 of the year.
You did last year.
No,
when
I
they
didn't.
trailed the Cubs 8-0 and won that game. I think we both did.
No, I didn't dub that a turning point. I dubbed that like an identity game. Like the identity of the team became like grit squad and never give up and comeback victories, right?
They haven't needed a turning point really yet. Because they started 14-3.
How would you define turning point? Like a turning point game?
Well, I think with what we said, it's like you're going about it, you're playing poorly, and the way in which you win is improbable. You're down 4-0 in the 7th. You've lost 5 of 6. You win that game and it propels you. That to me is a turning point. You don't have a turning point when you start 14-3.
No.
And I don't think you have a turning point in the midst of a 6-game winning streak, like we said with the Yankees game.
I don't know if I would define a turning point as you have to like come back in the game and have some crazy come from behind victory.
Maybe not.
Because they didn't have that last year in Philadelphia on that Wednesday afternoon or Wednesday morning.
They just turned around their season.
Yeah, so that was a turning point.
Correct. But you're right. You didn't really know it until you had hindsight on it. I mean, I knew it by September. They were rolling.
Also, how could you have a turning point in your season when you are already 9 games over 500?
Well, that's the thing. I would agree with that. I mean, if this just goes point A to point B and they play all year 10 games over, and then they're 20 games over at the end, you're right. There's no real turning point. It would be all defined by the start they had.
Last year's team in Philadelphia was like 3 or 4 games under 500.
Yeah, I mean, if this somehow goes sideways and they go from 27-18 to 30-28, then they might need a turning point in their season.
Oh, for sure.
Because,
in baseball, the adage goes, every good team is going to win 60, lose 60.
Right.
So, like, what do you do with the other 42? And then we can say maybe that was the turning point or that was a turning point.
Right.
There's so many opportunities for turning points, but when you're 9 games over, just play good baseball. You don't need to have a quote unquote turning point in your season.
Yeah, I agree with that. And I'm looking at okay, the Padres have been good at home. They haven't been as good on the road. So what's their record on the road? They're 11-10. I'm just looking at what they have coming up here. So Toronto at home, are they good? They're fine. They're 13-12. And then you're going to Atlanta. Is Atlanta good at home? They're unbelievable at home. Even with their start, they're 15-7 at home. That's why I call this a sneaky tough road trip. I really believe that. I think Toronto is good enough, 22-24, but you don't play in Toronto every day. And then Atlanta's 15-7 at home. And this might be soft of me to say, I'll take the 3-3 trip.
Soft.
I agree. But you know me, I'm not the biggest gambler in the world. I'd rather take something than roll the dice. Because if I don't take the 3-3 trip, what if they go 2-4? What if they go 1-5? Where you'd say, well, what about the upside of 4-2 or 5-1? But I see a 15-7 Braves team at home that's red hot, and a Toronto team that's over 500 at home. I'll take 3-3, get out of there, live to see another day. See you back at Petco.
They have 12 games up here until they face their stretch of games versus the Giants, Milwaukee, Dodgers, Arizona, Dodgers, Kansas City, Washington.
That's hard, right?
That's very hard. So, okay, they go 3-3 on this trip. Then now in the 6 games at home versus the Pirates and the Marlins, 2 of the worst teams in baseball. Now you're saying, all right, no worse than 4-2.
Right. And maybe you need to go 5-1 to withstand what's to come in June. Because you might give some of it back against good teams. Maybe not.
But, when you break down, all right, next 12 games or whatever, next 12 games, if they do end up going 7-5, it's not the worst thing in the world.
Right.
It really isn't. Because when you have the start they have, 7-5 in 12 game stretches, that's going to add up. Right.
Yep.
And it's going to add on to your 14-3 start. And you just add 2 more wins above 500, add 2 more wins above 500, add 2 more wins above 500. That's, Mike Schultz talked about that. And I've said with the start they had, that's something that teams in a season look for is a 14-3 stretch. People, fans of teams would die to have their favorite team go 14-3 in a 17 game stretch in the season. That's hard to do. And they did it to start their year. So then now, because of that, you just 7-5, 7-5, 7-5. You look up, you're 20 games over 500 if you just are now going 7-5, 7-5 in 12 games stretches.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. That isn't the quote unquote worst thing, but maybe they can play better than that because Pittsburgh and Miami are in there.
And I do believe if they continue to play at a 7-5 clip over 12 game spans, that eventually they're going to get hot and they're going to have a stretch in 12 game span where they're 10-2 or 8-3 or 8-4, excuse me. I can't do math. So
no, you really can't.
They just can't have those stretches consistently where they're 3-8 because you're just okay, well, we wasted the start of our season.
They'd be the first baseball team in history to go 3-8 over a 12 game stretch, but we'll see if they do it.
I was thinking about,
I know from earlier this year. I'm kidding. All right, we're going to hear from Mike Schild. He has spoken to the media. We'll share it with you on the other side of this break. Padres and Blue Jays coming up in over an hour from Rogers Center. Plus, be listening for that goal call. When you hear it, call 877-767-4760 for a chance to qualify to win STFC tickets against Austin FC May 31st, Snapdragon Stadium. Hour 2, John and Jim on San Diego Sports 760 and live on the iHeartRadio app.
This update's brought to you by Staples Stores. Padres start a 6-game road trip starting tonight in Toronto. 4:05 first pitch. Dylan Cease on the mound for the Padres against Chris Bassett for the Toronto Blue Jays. And the Western Conference Finals gets underway in a couple hours in OKC as the Thunder taking on the T-Wolves in the Western Conference Finals. Your local Staples has hot deals and super low prices throughout the store on everything for your business. And right now at Staples, save up to $250 off your print order. Exclusions do apply. Visit staples.com/print for details. Ends June 14th. Plus, save even more with the Easy Rewards program at Staples.
All right, San Diego and Southern California, what's going on? This is hour 2 of John and Jim. We'll get into Jim's Super Bowl tickets in a moment, and if he's got them yet or not.
I forgot that that the Super Bowl is in Levi Stadium this year.
Perfect. So you should get your tickets. Again, we're going to qualify a listener this hour to win SDFC tickets May 31st. All you have to do, you're going to hear a goal call on the radio. Then you're going to call 877-767-4760. We'll qualify a listener this hour, 4 o'clock hour, 5 o'clock hour, announce the winner of those 2 free tickets coming up at 5:30. Kurt Heelan, lead NBA writer, NBCSports.com, will join us at 3:30. Mike Schilt, Jim, has spoken with the media.
Oh.
And he makes a joke. Okay. He's in a joking mood. I listened to the first 30 seconds of this. It's longer than that. This is going to be 5 or 6 minutes. Do we have the first minute or so of this? Do you have the question in there or not? Yeah, I think we need the question in there for the joke. Yeah.
Always need the question.
We'll get the question in there. But Schilt has spoke with the media. There's an update on you, Darvish, that you're going to hear momentarily.
Is that what he's joking about?
Yeah. Can you imagine what the joke would be?
His arm doesn't feel that great.
Okay. No. I'll give you one more shot.
There.
I'll give you one more shot. A joke involving you, Darvish.
Is it really a joke about you, Darvish? He starts out with
kind of.
Really?
Kind of.
Oh, I have no idea then.
Okay. All right.
I don't know.
You're going to hear it momentarily. All right. We're getting that audio for you right now from Rogers Center. Listen, it has to come across the border. Right? Got to get that audio from Canada.
Yep. Got to make its ways through customs.
Right, exactly. So we'll have that for you shortly. In addition to that, the Juan Soto story continues. We're going to have an update for you coming up later in the hour. And Kurt Heelan on the Western Conference Finals, which get underway at 5:30, by the way. Minnesota, Oklahoma City. That'll get underway at 5:30 Pacific. Right now, here's Mike Schilt earlier with the media.
Anything we're good. Mike, would you mind just giving us an update on you and where he is in the process?
On me?
On you.
Oh,
on
okay, yeah.
On you as well. Of course I care.
How you doing? I'm doing great, sir. No, I'm fine. Good. No, Darvish is doing well. Recovering, playing catch, seeing what the next steps are. And we're evaluating day by day, so stay with us.
Any feel on timeline now? Because it's been, almost a week since it started?
Not a great feel. We're taking it literally, in a big view of the season. So he'll get back to it, and we'll see where it ends up and whether he gets back to us next or what the next steps are.
Is he going to be joining you on this road trip?
There's a chance he'll be in Atlanta, yes, sir.
We're excited every time Dylan starts, but when he is going like he is now, in general, when he does 1 or 2, he has 5 or 6 really good starts.
Yeah, Dylan can string it together with the best of them. That's why he's been one of the most successful, consistent pitchers in baseball for several years now. So sliders back to elite levels, not only in the movement and the shape, but in the command of it. It's that right on the precipice ball, strike. Oh, just kidding, And so he's been in a really good spot, and looking forward to seeing what pitch tonight.
Has been the biggest improvement with this club to start the season as compared to, say, a year ago?
Yeah, I think it's a continuation of a year ago, but the second half of the year, it took the group some time just to get our footing with who our identities are in all the different areas. I do know that we had our identity started early about being together. So that was a starting point. But anyways, if you're not together, you don't have anything. And so we started with that. And once we are together, now we're moving together towards things in our pitching, in our base running, in our offensive identity with our hitting, which Victor and the group came together with the Petco Park hitting. That takes time. It takes some time, takes some trial and error, it takes some honest conversations, some growing, and then we kind of hit our stride, we hit our stride, pretty much right after the All-Star break, and it kind of clicked, and now it's a continuation of all those things. And we know the game's hard, the other side's trying every night, but our processes are in place that are pretty clear on every aspect of the game, and the guys enjoy being together, and most of all, they enjoy it. They have fun, and we encourage them to go express themselves.
With Jackson signing that big contract, I mean, there was a lot of talk on the other side about Vlad. Do you get a sense that he feels maybe a little bit a sense of responsibility to the franchise, to the fan base, knowing that he's going to be around for a long time?
I think maybe a little bit more, but I think in a good way. I think he feels now more as anybody would when you're given a commitment.
Sure.
and a show of, hey, we believe in you, and we're going to back it up with the contract and the years. And first of all, you earned it completely with the year you put together last year, and it's the right investment. And but now Jackson, who already has a real desire to do well for his team and cares a lot about this organization, which is why he was so excited to have the deal in place, or at least one of them. But I do know he's now like, okay, I'm here. I'm going to be here. I can follow the footsteps of Manny and Toddy and Joe, and they've been able to help show me and shepherd me and what it looks like in the community, what it looks like to be in the clubhouse, what it looks like to take the next steps. But the good news is Jackson I don't feel like he feels this way, at least, that he has to take this multiple step. The good news is we have guys that, and this is what healthy organizations have and teams have. They have strong leadership that works together. And then when you have players like Michael Jackson come up, like a Michael King that comes up as on the pitching side, and you have Darvish, you have Musgrove, you have, Cease, you have, good leadership with Ruben and the pitching coach. Now Michael can come up and he can do his thing like he did last year. Jack can do his thing. But then as they get more footing and more traction, now they can insert themselves into, what it takes to be consistently strong in our community, from a San Diego community, but also from our community within our clubhouse.
Mike, what are some traits you don't often see, or maybe you're starting to see a little bit now, younger players getting locked up very early? What are some traits that a young player can show you in a relatively small samples that can help an organization believe this is a person that we should invest in to that degree?
I think you're starting to see, first of all, longer answer to your question, but as you look at the games turning, and I can't tell you exact time, you guys maybe have a better idea, but 8-10 years ago when we started to kind of the game in general sort of eliminate the middle player, the superstar got a chance to move on and continue to play for 10, 12, 15, 16 years. But that guy that was getting 5 or 6 started getting weeded out for the guy that gets the opportunity at a younger level. So that started that process. And then when you start to see those players start to perform, and then it gives an organization more general confidence that they can invest in the player. And then I think it's, at least from my experience, and specific to Jackson, is when you get to know the character of the player that comes through the system and how he buys in, the person, and you make the bet on the person is equal to the talent. And in our situation, you have what also to a core group around them to know that Jackson doesn't have to carry the San Diego Padres. We have other guys that can do their part, and Jackson can just do his, and know that's going to allow them just to go play.
So I can't stop thinking about Mike Schultz's attempt at humor at the start of that press conference.
Yeah, like, how's you doing? Me? No, Mike. Because by the way, lost in there, because Kevin Acey's now reporting, lost in there is Darvish was supposed to travel to Toronto. He didn't. And he may join the team in Atlanta. So Schultz said there is not an expectation for him to pitch in Atlanta, per Kevin Acee. At what point is this weird? Like, why would you make a rehab start a week ago? What, yesterday or a week ago tomorrow? He made a rehab start 6 days ago, but then he's going to go 10 days plus between starts. Why? I've never heard of that. I mean, okay, he's going to be 39 years of age. They need him in the second half of the year. We all agree with that. They need you, Darvish, in the second half of the year. And right now is the first half, not the second half. What's the deal? Why can't we just get an honest, transparent answer on you, Darvish? Why did he make a rehab start and then shut it down?
I don't get
Jim.
it. I don't know, John.
Don't you agree, though?
It's the definition of the Brian Windhorst. Why would they do that?
Because I don't mind. Why make the rehab start? If you just didn't make the rehab start yet, I'd be like, they're still waiting on Darvish. Like, when you make your ramp up, you're ramping up.
I don't know. I really don't. And
Super weird, dude.
If he is dealing with still like fatigue and injury, then why not say that? If he's dealing with some personal matters, okay. But I mean, you can't just, like you said, you can't be close to transparent. You have to do everything in secrecy and just kind of put these things out there that have more questions than answers. I don't know. It's weird. The whole thing is weird. It'd be nice to get a little bit of clarity on you, Darvish. I think the fans deserve some clarity on you, Darvish. And
he better be good when he comes back, Jim, because we spent so little time examining you, Darvish's deal. And to his, I don't think he was paid last year when he was on leave, would be my guess. I think that's accurate. Not that it really matters. But like, we spent so much time examining contracts. Yu Darvish is on a 6-year, $108 million deal. By the way, they're not paying him for years 4, 5, and 6. This is year 3. He's not getting better, right? You're not expecting him in 2027 to go out and pitch game 6 of a World Series for you as a 41-year-old. Like, now is the time for Yu Darvish. Maybe not in May. I'm all for that. If he can impact you in October, amazing. It's just, to me, it's getting a little frustrating. He's thrown 200 innings since signing a $108 million deal. That's a little frustrating because you're not counting on him as a 42-year-old in 2028.
You're right. We never talk about Yu Darvish's contract as being awful, which, by the way, it is.
That's the thing. And I'm all for, last year, if there was a personal matter, that's completely cool. I respect that point. And if he's hurt, he's hurt. But what games are we playing here?
And I love Yu Darvish. Yu Darvish is one of the most likable Padres and just baseball players and just humans that you'll ever meet. Like, there's nothing to dislike about Yu Darvish as a person. Nothing. But when you break down the numbers and the contract and the time missed, the personal stuff last year, I'll give him a pass on. But guys can't stay healthy. He's getting paid a good amount of money. It's not a lot, but it's still a good amount. I mean, it matters. I mean,
it definitely matters to them.
Don't you think the Padres would love to have taken that $100 million and invested it in, I don't know, a left fielder and maybe a catcher?
I mean, you're right. So he's making close to 20 a year. 108 divided by 6. I mean, it's close to 20. It's 19.
It's the same thing with Joe Musgrove. Now, Joe Musgrove, same situation. Love him as a person. You'll never say a bad thing about Joe Musgrove as a person. San Diegan, first no-hitter, all that stuff. Community-wise, like, great leader, all that stuff. But when you're breaking it down, his contract, because he's missed so much time, it's an awful one. Both of them. They're bad contracts. They are bad contracts because they don't pitch and they're always injured.
The one thing I would say is last year against the Dodgers, right? That's why you need Yu Darvish.
But they also didn't win. So
they didn't win, but he was good against the Dodgers.
Very
in both
good.
Of his appearances last year against the Dodgers. They're going to need him in October for this contract to pay dividends. All right, more on that on the other side. Kurt Heelan, lead NBA writer, NBCSports.com, and the conference finals will join us coming up at 3:30. And again, be listening for that goal call to enter for a chance to win San Diego FC tickets for May 31st. When you hear the goal call 877-767-4760 to qualify for a chance to win 2 free tickets to see SDFC on May 31st. This is John and Jim, San Diego Sports 760, and live on the iHeartRadio app.
Lozano with chuk boom.
All right, tomorrow at 6, San Diego Sports 760 has SDFC Midweek Live. You'll hear from Mikey Varsho, the head coach, interviews with players and coaches, find out the latest club and MLS information, hosted by Darren Smith. SDFC Midweek Live every Wednesday at 6 on your home for SDFC, San Diego Sports 760. By the way, their GM, Tyler Heaps, on the show tomorrow at 2:30. SDFC playing well. You've got a chance to win tickets to see them May 31st. The next time you hear that goal call, just call 877-767-4760 for a chance to qualify to win those tickets for May 31st.
So in the Kevin article about you, Darvish, are you just going to take it on face value that he's just not ready to pitch yet? Or there's
no.
Okay.
I'm absolutely not. Because, and that's why we've talked about it now. Yeah. I think we've talked about this for days on end. Sunday's wrap-up show, Monday, yesterday here, today here. You said yesterday your antennas have been raised. My antennas are only getting further raised the way this is playing out. I just want transparency and honesty. It doesn't have to do with Darvish. And it might not have to do with the organization. Why? Someone answer this question. Why did he make a rehab start? Apparently pitch effective enough.
Pitch
four
4
innings. About a
50,
2-run
60
home run.
pitches, yeah.
That was 6 days ago. And now he's not in Toronto. So days 6, 7, and 8, he's not in the major leagues. And then he may join the team in Atlanta. That's days 9, 10, 11 since the rehab. But according to Kevin in that article, he's not expected to pitch in Atlanta. Maybe that changes. So then what? You're going to go 11 plus days without pitching and then you're going to appear in the big leagues? I guess you could. It is Yu Darvish. He's 38, 39. Maybe that's his preference here. I'm just telling you, to me, it's an odd situation. Maybe I'm overreacting to it. I probably am. But how do you go 10 or 11 days? I would guess the next start would be a rehab start.
It has to be. You can't just
go a couple weeks and get back out there. What's
9-10 days without pitching and then go back to the big leagues and go to pitch in Atlanta.
What's his pitch limit going to be also?
Especially when you're seeing from Kevin here, the reason why is he just is not ready yet.
Now, maybe there is some. Here's the thing. I'm not going to be critical. If something personal is going on, if it's family related, right? You have to tend to something. That's fine. Just tell us, right? If Yu Darvish isn't in Toronto, and I don't know the reason, Jim, maybe he's got a cold. Maybe it's family related. Maybe it's his arm health. But why don't we find out what it is as opposed to have to speculate for days on end? If they just said someone's sick at home or he doesn't feel well or his arm has soreness, like if they just told us, I would say, thank you for telling us. And then we can move on with our lives. But until they tell us, it leaves all these open-ended questions.
Do you think that the Padres as an organization are they getting frustrated by this? Do you think that they're getting frustrated by this? Because what Kevin said in this article here that he posted literally like 10 minutes ago, according to one source, literally day to day, regarding how the team is processing, taking its cues from Darvish.
What cue? How he feels, how his arm health is?
So that tells me that.
What was his injury? Shoulder soreness, elbow soreness.
Elbow soreness. Yeah, they don't even really. They never like fully diagnosed it as anything other than just like his elbow
needs rest.
Sore. Yeah, needs rest. And now it's been 2 months.
Oh, it's been more.
Yeah.
I mean, well, he made the rehab. You're right. But I mean, it's
star.
been what, 10 weeks?
So my guess is the Padres kind of know what's up, but they also are kind of in the dark here. And Darvish is maybe kind of, I'm not saying being flaky, but just like not really giving them much to go off of. So then they're put in a position where they got to go, yeah, it's day to day. We don't really know.
I mean, are you overly confident that Darvish is going to come back and stay healthy?
Nah, not really. I hope I'm wrong, but
like
not
you're asking
really.
for, right? So here's a guy that has barely thrown over the last year. And now he's missed the first couple of months. We don't exactly know as to why. And he's going to ramp up and be out there and just pitching every fifth or sixth day, giving you 6 innings from, I hope so. And again, it's not, to your earlier point, it's not like they have to have him right now. They've done pretty well without him. Mm-hmm. But in September, October, you're going to want him, especially at that number that he's making. And I guess if you know you don't have him, you can backfill for AJ Preller at some point. But I don't know. It's just weird to me. It really is weird to me.
I just hope that in the next week or so, we don't get the report of he's visited Dr. James Andrews and he has to get Tommy John surgery or something crazy like that. I know I said the word. I'm sorry. I apologize.
I mean, again, that because they're not telling us. You can say whatever you want. They're not telling us.
Yeah.
So it's not your fault. I mean, no, this has nothing to do with. I think you made this point. I think the fans kind of have a right here and deserve to know this. To me, because it's so prolonged, can someone just be honest with us about what's playing? If it's personal, okay, say it's a personal matter.
They will never be transparent ever.
But this one is almost like to the full degree. of lacking transparency. Like it almost feels as if they're doing everything in their power to not be transparent. I just think they're going too far. And maybe I'm going too far. The only reason I'm doing it is because they're not telling us. If they told me it was personal, he'll get back out there as soon as he can, okay, I'd move on. But since they're not telling me, now I'm taking it to a further spot of like what's going to happen with you, Darvish. So stay tuned because apparently it's day to day, like me and Jim. All right, Kurt Heelan's going to join us on the other side. We're 2 hours out. Oklahoma City and Minnesota game one of the Western Conference Finals. The Eastern Conference Finals get underway tomorrow. Knicks and Pacers. Kurt Heelan, lead NBA writer, NBCSports.com, will join us on the other side of John and Jim. San Diego Sports 760 and live on the iHeartRadio app. All right, hey guys, it is John and Jim again for the all-new Jamul Casino Resort, the Players Place. And a reminder, all month long, you still have an opportunity to do this. Monday Night Live, Ford Mustang Mach-E giveaways. All right, every single Monday, someone's driving home with a brand new Ford Mustang Mach-E. That's throughout May. You can earn entries all month long just by playing. And on Tuesdays, you can earn 2 times the entries.
Elevate your gaming experience with their brand new casino app. Get 200,000 bonus coins when you sign up and enjoy real rewards with every in-app purchase. Play online at playhamulcasino.com.
Also, tonight, $30,000 hot seats. This is every Tuesday from 5 to 10 p.m. Every Tuesday for your chance to win $1,000 in free play every 10 minutes. Play slots or table games to qualify. It's at the all-new Jamul Casino Resort, the Players Place.
All right, this update is brought to you by Wendy's new Frosty flavors. Padres and Blue Jays start a 3-game series in Toronto. 4:05 first pitch. Dylan Cease on the mound for the Padres. And tonight, the Western Conference Finals gets underway. 5:30 start time in OKC as the T-Wolves take on the Thunder. And then tomorrow night, Knicks and Pacers in New York, game 1 there. If you love Wendy's classic chocolate and vanilla Frosty flavors, they have some big news for you. They're announcing all new Frosty Swirl and Frosty Fusion flavors. So it's the same creamy treat you've always loved, now with a flavor refresh. A refresh on a classic, gotta be Wendy's at participating U.S. Wendy's.
All right, Western Conference Finals, 2 hours out, and here to talk about it is Kurt Heelan, lead NBA writer, managing editor at NBCSports.com, with us on John and Jim, San Diego Sports 760. Kurt, appreciate you hopping on. I've been seeing some of the stuff you've been writing, so I think I know where you'll go with this. Obviously, the Thunder, Thunder are favorites, obviously, to win the NBA Finals at this point. Thunder or the field, if you had to make that choice, Thunder or the other 3 teams to win it all? And thanks for hopping on.
That's a good question, but I'll still take the Thunder. Can I be honest with you? I think they won the championship on Sunday.
Wow. Okay.
I think that was the toughest test. Minnesota is a really good team, but not the matchup issue for the Thunder. And I think the veteran experience of Denver, like they just knew how to win. I mean, if you're going to win a championship, you got to win some ugly games, right? Like you don't get to steamroll your way to a title. Even Boston last year, like you've got to win a few ugly ones. OKC has learned how to do that, and they had to learn how to do that to get past Denver, who is more than adept at that, despite having a pretty good center on that team.
Does the time off for the T-Wolves, do you think that could help them at all, or do you think it might hurt them here? Because OKC played on Sunday and they're in a groove, and I honestly forget the last time that the T-Wolves played, either Thursday or Friday of last week.
Yeah, it's been a little while, and they've had the jet fueled ready to go, but we're waiting to find out what city they were flying to. I'm really curious how that shakes out, because the flip side of that is, even though it was a blowout win, that was an emotional game 7 that you're all up for and you can't sleep the night before and you're all geared up and you get that win and it's that sigh of relief. And like 48 hours later, you got a little over 48 hours, you got to turn around and play again. That's its own challenge, right? Like I am really curious how the first half of tonight goes. Is it, are the Thunder mentally all the way, are they still a little rested? Are they still not quite up to this series? I don't think that's the case, but we'll find out. And the flip side is, we've seen it a couple times in these playoffs, man. Hey, they dominated the first round. They're rolling, and then they get rusty in those breaks. And I think I am worried about that for Minnesota.
Kurt Heelan with us right now, lead NBA writer, NBCSports.com. Let me ask it this way. Which to you would be the most compelling finals matchup among the 4 possibilities? Thunder Knicks, Thunder Pacers, T-Wolves Knicks, T-Wolves Pacers.
I think it'd be T-Wolves Knicks, because you get the whole Randall Towns, right? Like that preseason trade that we're like, oh, they salary dumped. That was a horrible move by Minnesota. And look, first off, I said that, and B, I was wrong. It took most of the year for Randall to figure out how to play next to Gobert, which anybody who's played next to Gobert will tell you, like they're privately off the record or on the record, tell you it takes a while. He's just different. It takes a while to learn how to defend next to him. It takes a while to learn how to play offense next to him. He's kind of a unique player that way. It took a long time for that and Anthony Edwards and everything to gel, but they're, I think, a little better now than they were a year ago, a little more versatile. And I love the way Randall has fit with them. And obviously Towns has been hand in glove in New York. He's been fantastic. He's going to have a big series if they're going to advance. So I love that storyline. I love that matchup. I'm not sure that's the one we're getting, but that's the one. I think that would be the most fascinating.
Yeah, Julius Randle's been fantastic this entire postseason. When you look at how the schedule of everything plays out, this has been a topic of discussion of late because of all the injuries and the hamstring pulls, and then the Achilles tendon pulls there. Do you think that this schedule needs to be lengthened out, or do you like how the schedule is and it's just kind of a coincidence with all these injuries?
I don't think it's a coincidence completely. I would love to see a little more time off in some of these second round series. My problem is I'm not sure. Look, Matt, I don't need it to go deeper. Like I don't think any of us need to see the NBA playing up until July 4th or something. Like,
right.
you know, I don't think that's necessarily good for the league either. You know, I could argue that the best way to do this is reduce the schedule to 70 games and start the playoffs earlier, but you know, good luck with that. So,
yeah,
right. I would love to. I just logistically don't know how they get there. The other trick they could do is, and I would love this, return the first round to best of 5. Mm-hmm. It gives you a little more breathing room in the spacing, but also I think it just creates more drama. You're more likely to get a first round upset if Team X can, you know, if your 7 or 8 seed can win game 1, suddenly it's a lot more interesting.
Yeah, it's a really good point. Kurt Heelan is with us right now. NBCSports.com on John and Jim, San Diego Sports 760. So we've touched on the Western Conference Finals a little more. How do you see this classic matchup, right? It's been a quarter century, but we get Knicks and we get Pacers. How do you see this playing out? Is this a long series for you?
Yeah, I think so. I think, look, I think when it came time to make my predictions and picks, I pulled out a quarter and flipped it. Like it's I think a really even series. The Knicks are more physical. They do have home court advantage. They seem to be having some kind of I don't know, my watch is going off. They seem to be able to find an ability. The Knicks just find ways to win, and the Pacers have done some of that too. They certainly had some clutch wins, but I think they're a little prettier brand of basketball. So it's going to be really fun to watch the Knicks defense trying to slow down the pace of the Pacers offense. And on the flip side, we're going to find out just how gritty and how down in the muck the Pacers are willing to get. It's such a great styles make fights, guys. And this is a great one.
Other than Brunson and Halliburton, who to you is the most important player in this series for either team?
I'm going to say Towns. He absolutely destroyed the Pacers. He had 40 points in the one game they played after the All-Star break. And granted, Miles Turner didn't play in that game and some other people. So it's not exactly apples to apples, but he had really good games against them all season. And I think that it's just a tougher matchup for the Pacers. That and having Mitchell Robinson, they're just a different team with Mitchell Robinson defensively. I think that gives them a slight edge, but they're going to need a big town series if you're going to win this, because it can't be Jalen Brunson against the world.
No doubt about it. Kurt, away from the conference finals, obviously the Tatum injury is so significant for the whole landscape of the NBA, specifically in the Eastern Conference. And the Celtics already were rumored to have all this change heading into the offseason. What on earth are the expectations for the Boston Celtics going to be next season, in your opinion?
I think, look, at the end of the day, with whatever moves they end up making, they're going to be good, but it's going to be, I'm one of those people who subscribes to the fact it's essentially going to be a gap here. They're going to, I don't think they're going to be bad. I don't think they're going to tank all the way down to, try to get some high lottery pick, injuries did it, but they're not going to be this year's Sixers, but they're not going to be contenders without Tatum. And I'm really curious how Brad Stevens chooses to use that, because look, last summer when they were celebrating the title, there were plenty of people around the league who said they can't sustain this, like financially. It's going to come calling. If they hadn't won the title this year, they'd probably already be looking to make some moves, but you win a title, you bring it back, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So they do, but now I'd be shocked if, look, Drew Holiday can help a lot of teams, but he's 35 right now. UCLA's own Drew Holiday. He's going to be 36, turning 37 when you get Tatum back full speed. It's just, I think they're going to move him. I think they'd love to move Kristaps Porzingis and his $30 million expiring. If somebody wants to pay him $30 million to be injured on their roster. But I think I think the big question, everybody knew they were going to try some stuff like that this summer. They kind of had to. The big question is Jaylen Brown. Like, if somebody like, I don't know, Houston, who has all these young players and picks, if somebody came through with a big enough offer, would they consider it for Jaylen Brown? I'd be really curious if they'd be willing to reset that much.
What's the likeliest scenario with the Giannis storyline this offseason? Did you envision that this is the end for him? And if it is, if you do believe that, where's the likeliest landing spot you think for him?
I've become torn on that just because, look, to me, remember the great old Bill Parcells line, if you're thinking about being retired, you're retired.
Yeah.
You know, and I think we've all done that because I think that applies to, like, we've all been in relationships where we're like, we should end this. You were already thinking about it, but it took you a while to get there. I feel like that's where they are. Like, and if you're the Bucks, if he's back, you want him all the way back full time. And next year, again, they don't have Damian Lillard, tore his Achilles at an older age. He's never going to be quite the same, and you're probably not going to have him all of next season. I'm like, if I'm the Bucks, I'm going to say to him, like, oh, that's fine. We want you back, but I don't want to go through this a year from now. I don't want this same scenario a year from now if we struggle. If you're going to want out, let's do it now. Otherwise, you're all the way in. And I got a feeling he's going to ask out. And when that happens, the Spurs are a really logical landing spot to me, but we'll see if they're willing to go there. If they're willing to, I think they should accelerate their timeline that much, because I think it's like having an NFL quarterback who's really good as a rookie, like the Commanders right now. Like, man, you better load up that roster before you got to pay the quarterback off the rookie scale before it gets really difficult. I think they're kind of in that spot. So I would load up and do it. I don't know if they're willing to do that, or if it ends up being somebody like Miami or Brooklyn, or somebody who steps up with a deal that gets it done.
What do you think is just the best fit? Like, if they do go through with this, and Giannis does ask out, and they grant his request, and they do trade him, where's the best spot for him to win a championship right away, in your opinion?
As much as part of me says stay in the East, like go somewhere like Toronto. And again, the East will be down next year, and you could go somewhere like Toronto and instantly contend. But my guess is, unless he wants to go to a big, bright market, which is there, look, that rumor is out there that he would prefer to be in brighter lights than he was in Milwaukee. San Antonio, to me, is still the best fit. If you put him next to Wembanyama, and look, the Spurs put together a really nice pack. You want the rookie of the year and the number 2 pick, so you can get Dylan Harper. Your backcourt is now set for the future. You know, like, you can make a really good. They've got the matching salary. They've got other future picks. Like, I think you can put together a really good deal. Fox, Wembanyama, and Antetokounmpo next to each other is just, even in the West, you're now right at the top of the list of contenders. And I think that, and they'd be there for a few years, and Wembanyama continues to get better. So, like, that's where I would think is the best basketball fit for him, but I don't know if that's where he wants to be, because San Antonio may not be the most glamorous of markets.
Kurt, love your insight and perspective. And again, for our listeners, you can read the work at NBCSports.com as you get ready for the conference finals getting underway in less than 2 hours. But Kurt, thanks for taking time for San Diego, and we'll do it again soon.
I love to. Anytime, guys. Take care.
All right, great stuff from Kurt Heelan. We can react to that on the other side. Plus, baseball with another idea. Is it a good one or a bad one? As we lead you up to Padres and Blue Jays in about 30 minutes. It's John and Jim on San Diego Sports 760 and live on the iHeartRadio app. All right, AM radio keeps vital voices accessible. Congress can secure its future. We need your help, though. Text AM to 52886 now to support keeping AM radio in cars. Tell your member of Congress to pass legislation now. Keep AM radio in cars. Standard message and data rates apply. Be listening for that goal call on the radio. When you hear it, call 877-767-4760 for a chance to qualify to win SDFC tickets for May 31st at Snapdragon Stadium against Austin FC. If you missed Kurt Heelan, lead NBA writer at NBC Sports, you'll hear that coming up in the 5 o'clock hour as well. Did you see what MLB is experimenting with in the minor leagues?
Is it ABS?
No, they've done that.
Oh, I don't know. What is it?
It is a system to challenge checked swings. Now, Brent is applauding behind the glass.
About damn time.
Jim is saying about damn time. I would argue against it. Here's why. There is no rule that says what a check swing is. Read the entire rule book. Define check swing for me. It's impossible to do. There's no rule. I mean, there's no way to do it.
The head, what is it? The head of the bat passing the front of the plate.
Or is it the first or third base line, depending on whether you're a left or right-handed batter?
Well, yeah.
Right.
But if you look at an overhead view,
yep.
If your head of the bat, or I guess the barrel of your bat crosses home plate,
then you swung.
That's a swing. Now, if you don't break your wrists and just your wrists go, but your bat head stays behind home plate, that should not be called a swing, right?
I think a lot of people agree with that. I would always say back in the day, like, did you break your wrist? Which again, isn't like a finite mathematical statement.
I've seen plenty of times where batters don't break their wrist, but the bat head still goes across the plate.
Sure. And that would be a strike, a check swing.
Yes. But there's also a lot of times when the batter has broken his wrist and the bat head does go across home plate and it's called no swing.
Well, listen to what they're considering. They're using this technology in the Class A Florida State League beginning today. It's a Hawkeye system, to Jim's point. It's an overhead system. A check swing call can be challenged by either the team at bat or the team on defense. The decision will be made based on whether the bat head is ahead of the knob by more than 45 degrees, matching the first base line for a right-handed batter or the third base line for a left-handed batter. Short of 45 degrees will be called a no swing.
Okay.
So is that where we're heading here? Currently, we have a system where balls and strikes are screwed up constantly, but that's going to change, we think, with automatic balls and strikes. With ABS, do you want a definitive system on check swings? There's never been anything definitive about it in 150 years, a little bit like balls and strikes. Truthfully, it's subjective. Are we getting that technical that we're going to challenge check swings moving forward?
Look, if you could do it, do it.
If you can do it, do it.
If you can have, ideally, overhead shot.
It would be overhead, yeah.
Overhead shot, because then you just do the imaginary line.
Yeah, you have a line. That's a good point.
And then
it crossed the line. You went. Didn't cross the line. You didn't go.
Yeah, very easy call there.
Yeah.
So if they can do that and have it be universal and do the same thing, you get a certain amount of challenges a game, along with the ABS system, then we're good to go.
Everything's fine?
No, not everything's fine, but at least you have put in the necessary technological advancements where we're not leaving this up to a guy's discretion 90 plus feet away.
Okay, Brent, your 2 cents here. You like it.
I like it. I'm kind of with Jim to where it's kind of like in football to where, the guy that threw the flag has the worst angle, and, there's a guy standing right next to where, the holding call happened and he didn't throw the flag, to where as long as, they'll create like a imaginary line that goes across the plate. So then from the top view, you can see if the bat breaks the plane.
Mm-hmm.
I think I'd rather just do that and have it be right, opposed to, deferring the appeal to, the first or third base umpire who honestly, he doesn't really have a good angle at it to, why don't you just ask the dude in the outfield, you know what I mean? It's just, he doesn't have a very good view of it. So I'd rather go to the video and just get it right, opposed to just, appealing to a guy who maybe wasn't even paying attention. The time was no, he's good.
Guess what percent of ABS challenges teams got right?
I'm gonna go with 60%, 70%.
Right, you think it would be 52?
Oh,
how about that?
Wow,
teams were wrong. Now it was spring training,
so it's like,
and you could also challenge the last pitch of a game because it's the last pitch of a game.
Oh, that's gonna be so awkward.
I don't like that.
No.
I don't like challenging last pitches of games. I really don't.
Could you imagine?
I get it if it's
Game
wrong.
7 of the World Series ends on a close call, and everyone's celebrating. Oh, excuse me, I want to challenge that, and then they call it a strike after a 30-second delay, and then you celebrate.
So they only got 52% right, the clubs, in spring training. So it kind of speaks to it's a hard job. Right, because you're questioning the umpire and you think you're right, and you're only right 52% of the time.
ABS is designed, and it should be designed for calls that are so blatant that the umpire missed.
They just completely missed it.
And it's happened a bunch this year. I saw like a video yesterday. I don't know exactly when it was, but it was Jack Flaherty this year on the mound. He might have been in Toronto. I forget. Your boy Jason Benetti, on the call. 2 pitches in the game were like right down the middle, and they were called balls. And so, like, those are the calls that ABS is going to be designed for. The obvious right down the middle, or like clearly, in the zone calls. But like there was a call this spring. It was like a fraction of the ball touched the zone, so it was called a strike.
Right.
Like, those are so difficult, dude.
It is, and it is going to be interesting, to your point, to see what it looks like in Major League Baseball postseasons. Regular seasons, you're going to go through like Rays, Red Sox games. You're not going to see it every day, but when you get to a postseason game that's being changed based on ABS, it's going to be interesting. I mean, it's going to be pretty compelling, arguably, as well. All right, be listening for that sounder. The goal call, when you hear a call, 877-767-4760. We're qualifying listeners all day long. We'll have a winner of those 2 free tickets to see SDFC May 31st coming up at 5:30. But on the other side, we'll get to the wrap on John and Jim, San Diego Sports 760, and live on the iHeartRadio app.
All right, this update's brought to you by Rapid Radios. Padres and Blue Jays start a 3-game series in Toronto. Dylan Cease on the mound for the Padres. And the Western Conference Finals gets underway tonight in OKC. 5:30 tip time between the Thunder and the T-Wolves. Game 1 tomorrow night. The Eastern Conference Finals between the Knicks and Pacers. 5:30 in New York. Rapid Radios are instant push to talk walkie-talkies, offering national LTE coverage and no subscription ever. Perfect for instant contact with an aging parent. For a limited time, go to rapidradios.com and you'll get an extra 60% off and free UPS shipping. Add code radio and get an extra 5% off.
It's John and Jim to warm up that drive home.
Padres off an off day, Jim. We've talked about that. That's been beneficial for them before. They're coming off a sweep at the hands, obviously, of Seattle and looking to bounce back with Dylan Cease on the mound here this afternoon against Chris Bassett for the Blue Jays.
There's nothing better for a baseball team than after getting swept or just having like a really awful series than an off day.
Yeah.
Now, time for John and Jim.
All right, San Diego, Southern California, what's going on? This is our that goal call. When you hear it, you'll want to call 877-767-4760 for a chance to qualify to win SDFC tickets May 31st against Austin FC. We're announcing a winner at 5:30. You have 2 more chances to qualify, so be listening between now and 5:30. If you missed Kurt Heelan, NBC Sports, he will preview the conference finals for you coming up at 5 p.m. And also this hour, we're giving away a 4-pack of tickets to the San Diego County Fair. Now, you've been, I want to say, maybe arguing with someone on X for the last 20 minutes.
It's never, I don't know why I do this. It's never a good idea to argue with a troll
with 2 followers,
especially when the troll's name on Twitter is Mr. Plow. Never a good idea to do that.
If the name isn't Mr. Plow, it makes more sense.
Even if it isn't Mr. Plow,
what if
it doesn't make sense?
What if it was Bob Wafer?
I don't think I would do it. I got in some argument last night with some dumb Dodger fan that literally did not know how trades work. He thought that a player gets to choose like where he gets to go when it comes to trades. And I'm like,
well, no, not really.
Not really,
I
actually.
mean, in the NBA, they can be like, I'm going to the Clippers. But it doesn't happen in baseball.
Anyway.
So are you okay?
I'm fine. I just, I know this troll and I don't know why I responded to him, but whatever.
Now I'm going to have the Mr. Plow song stuck in my head the rest of the show. Thanks, Jim.
Just mute.
It's a good idea.
Mute your way through it. Yeah. Mute your way through it.
Well, it's like a little cult of trolls. And we know that cult of trolls, goes at like who they're like.
I don't. Okay, is that what you're telling me? Because I don't know.
Yeah. There's a cult of trolls that follow certain people that like constantly worship the ground that they walk on. And then they decide that everyone else in this town, when it comes to media, are a bunch of losers.
Just create your own burners.
No.
Or just use the burners that you have.
I don't have burners.
Just troll yourself.
I did troll myself.
Yeah, exactly.
Someone said that I'm always...
Are you Mr. Plow?
No, I'm not Mr. Plow.
You're just talking back and forth with yourself?
Yeah. Someone said that the rent's due, let the guy post, because I put out on social media, Yu Darvish going 10-plus days in between starts, and the Padres being the opposite of transparent about that. Brian Windhorst, what does that mean emoji?
Right. So wait, what did Mr. Plow say?
He pitched Wednesday, ... And I said,
yeah, but he's not going to pitch again.
But he's not.
I
go, he's not scheduled to pitch anytime soon. ...
And
then
did he say?
Not scheduled to pitch that you know of. The organization has said that he should be back after the AAA start.
Yeah.
So I just said, okay.
Yeah, exactly. He should be. That we know of. What do we think tonight? Dylan Cease, surprise, like ripping off his jersey. It's actually Yu Darvish. There he is on the mound. Surprise. We pulled a fast one on you, Blue Jays.
Again, it's a cult of trolls. Or it's a group of trolls online that worships the ground of certain people in this town's whatever. And they just attack everybody else that is not. Yeah.
2 words for you. Mute.
Actually, that's one word.
That'd be so awesome if he just pulls like a Tom Cruise in Mission Impossible and Dylan Cease just pulls off a rubber mask and it's you.
It's Yu Darvish tonight. Not that we know of. All right. Coming up this hour, your chance to win again a 4-pack of tickets to the San Diego County Fair. You'll hear Kurt Heelan, NBC Sports at 5 p.m. But right now, let's get to this.
It's time for the wrap. Presented by Sombrero Mexican Food. Check out their website at sombreromex.com.
Which NFL player do you most want to see play Olympic flag football?
Patrick Mahomes. No, take that back. Lamar Jackson. He would be unstoppable in flag football.
Yeah, now this is 2028.
I know.
So I'm going to need some youth. I'm going to go with...
Who?
I'm going to go projection here. And my projection, just thinking young, I'm going to go with Jaden Daniels. So he's going to be like a fourth-year player coming off like 3 Super Bowl appearances. The talk of the sport, young, rising Jaden Daniels. Although I feel like some of it you're going to want to see is the receivers.
It's hard to, because it's a couple of years from now.
Also, how do you stop a running quarterback that flies in flag football?
You don't.
You're right at Lamar Jackson. Like, how would it be possible for them to not score?
Imagine trying to grab his flag. He's just going to juke you and you're going to tear your ACL.
He would score on every possession.
Every possession.
Every single. Now, against NFL guys, would he do it? Yeah. I think he would score in every single possession. I'm with you on that. Next question.
Will Jackson Merrill break out of his slump this week in Toronto?
Yeah. I'm gonna put my chips all in on Jackson Merrill having a good road trip.
Yeah.
Off day, clear the mind, get ready, blister heels up. He's going to have a good road trip.
You heard it here first. 2 hits tonight.
Oh.
2 hits tonight. 2. Have you ever heard of that many hits in one game from one player?
That's a lot.
2 hits, 1+ RBIs. 2 hits, 1+ RBIs. Jackson Merrill tonight against the Blue Jays. Is that just a monster game?
It's a huge game, John.
2 hits, 1 run driven in, at least.
It's a big night
from Jackson. Next question.
Should the NFL seed playoff teams based on record, regardless of whether they win their division or not?
I do think that winning your division should mean something.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I do hate when a division winner
is 8-9,
9-8,
right,
or 8-9.
What if the Niners go? This is a fair one. Like, okay, it's bad with the Niners because they're. Let's say I'm making it up. In 1 year, the Seahawks go 14-3 and the Niners go 13-4. Okay, we've seen that before. That possibility. And then in the East, the Eagles are 9-8 and the Cowboys are 8-9. So the Eagles won their division at 9-8. Again, bad comp.
I get what you're saying.
Is that cool that the Niners are the 5 seed and the Eagles are the 4 seed?
Yeah, because the division has to matter.
All those games in your division. They took the divisions out of hockey and basketball.
Took our divisions.
Didn't they take it out of the NBA? Like, are there divisions in the NBA?
The divisions don't matter
anymore. They just don't talk about it.
They took that out.
Yeah, they don't talk about it at all.
They took it out of the NHL. They didn't take it out of baseball.
They do just records in the NBA overall.
Exactly.
Because you could have 3 teams in the Pacific Northwest.
Like, what?
Huh?
Yeah. So you would still be a proponent of the 13-4 Niners going to 9-8 Philadelphia if the Niners didn't win that division, and with 13-4. That's some work.
I know it is. I don't like it,
but you get it.
I get it. And if you change it to just records, then you're going to have potentially 2 teams in one conference or 2 teams in one division hosting playoff games.
Correct.
For a wild card. And if you win your division, like if you win the South and you're 9-8, you're on the road. I mean, it would make sense. It would absolutely make sense. But there has to be some perk for winning your division. Then what's that perk that I guess you do get home field if you ever played that team that finished second in your division that went 13-4 or whatever.
I guess the perk is you're in, because if you win the division at 9-8 and I'm a wild card at 10-7, but behind the other wild cards, I'm out. Maybe the perk is you win your division, you're in, but there's no guarantee of seed. That's the perk for me. So honestly, I would go by record. I think I would go by. I don't like 13 and 4 teams playing at 9 and 8 teams. I just think it's wonky.
Yeah. Okay.
All right. Next question.
Should there be more time off between NBA playoff games?
Later in the postseason, yeah, because you want to have the best possible games that you can have. Blowouts are not good when it comes to, the conference finals and the NBA finals. You want all those games to be good and close.
Right.
Kurt Heelan and not just him, the 5-7-7-7 format, it would work so much better going back to the old school ways of things. But then the NBA would never allow that because of all the money that they're getting, and they're not going to reduce playoff games for player safety. These leagues don't care about player safety. They only care about money, so they're not going to reduce the times of games or the off days in between.
Where they really hurt themselves was with the play-in tournament, because they've added 1 week with the tournament that used to be 1 week of additional rest. Because you used to spread out these games more because you wanted the NBA finals over by mid-June. But by adding in the play-in, you still want the finals over by mid-June. You're speeding up the rest of the playoffs by a week because you've added in this pointless week of 9 playing 10, as if 9 against 10 have any shot of getting to the NBA finals. So if it was up to me, I would just get rid of the play-in. Go back to what it worked for a long time. Have 8 teams in each conference in the postseason, and I'm with you. Put 2 days off between games when teams travel. 1 day off when they're in the same city, 2 days off when they travel. There's my solution. Get rid of the play-in tournament. Adam Silver, call me.
Okay.
He doesn't even need to call me. He could just do that if he's listening right now, which he probably isn't, since
he's not.
The Western Conference Finals are about to get underway in Oklahoma City, so I doubt he's listening.
Or he's doing something else with his time.
It's possible.
Yeah.
It's possible he's doing something else this time tonight.
Real quick.
Yeah.
I need you to yell at me real quick.
No.
I'm gonna tell you what you need to do. You need to tell me, stop being an idiot.
You're an idiot.
Go out and get new headphones.
Why, they don't work?
This ear that is holding on for dear life over here, it's going out on me.
Well, here's the other thing. While you're at it, if you're going to the Mac store, pick up a laptop. Because every day, it's overheated. It's at 1%. It's being slow. I need to restart.
Look, I got a $30 budget, all right?
Perfect.
That's not going to buy me a new MacBook.
Are you going to be able to get headphones for $30 at the Mac store?
These type of headphones, yeah.
Okay.
But not like the Apple cool headphones that go over your head. I don't like that. I like the earbuds.
I know you do. I like over ear.
I don't like over ear or overhead or whatever.
Overhead.
I don't know.
Okay. Keep me updated on your purchase.
You didn't really yell at me. You just said
go buy them. I don't really care about your headphones. I care more about your computer.
Okay.
Because your headphones have no impact on me. Your computer actually does impact me because of YouTube.
Yeah, it does.
So I don't care if you can hear or not.
Okay.
Truthfully.
Okay.
Go buy headphones, you stupid idiot.
Thank you, Brent.
Thank you.
That's all I was looking for.
There you go. I'm here to help.
Thank you, Brent.
That's
Finally,
all I was
someone
looking
said
for.
it. All right, be listening for that goal sounder. When you hear it, call 877-767-4760 for your chance to qualify to win SDFC tickets at Snapdragon May 31st. If you miss Kurt Heelan, NBC Sports, he'll preview the conference finals at 5 p.m. We've got Del Mar Fair tickets to give away coming up later this hour. But on the other side, was he lollygagging or not? That's next on John and Jim. San Diego Sports 760 and live on the iHeartRadio app. I'd be listening for that goal call from Adrian Garcia Marquez, the play-by-play voice of SDFC. When you hear it, call 877-767-4760 for a chance to win 2 free tickets to see SDFC May 31st at Snapdragon Stadium.
Well, our exorcism of Jackson Merrill's rookie card that you
didn't
work so far.
Okay, so we did the issue we've run into typically typically Jim can get a player out of a rut and put a player in a rut. The thing we didn't consider this time around is me and you both jinxed him. So you tweeted best center fielder since, Mays.
or Griffey.
And I bought his rookie card, my first card purchase since 1993-ish.
A PSA 10, right?
A PSA 10 refractor, X-fractor.
It's good.
The card was at one point maybe worth $60. It's now worth like 6 cents. So we both kind of jinxed him. As you said, he's great. I bought his card. I was all in. And he's 1 for 20 since then. I said 2 hits tonight. He had an RBI opportunity. Runner at second, 2 outs. And he swung through 2 soft fastballs from Chris Bassett, 89 and 90, top of the zone. Swing and a miss. And 1 for his last 20 now. It's about as prolonged of a slump as we've seen from Merrill in his 2 years in the bigs.
Yeah, he's off. He's slumping.
He's in something right now.
Something is going through his head right now, and he's just going to have to work his way out of it. The saying is in basketball, shooters shoot. Just keep shooting. Same thing with Jackson Merrill. He's going to have to go grind it out, and he's going to. Like, he is a grinder. He is a baseball lover, and he is going to grind his way out of this. It's just right now, it's just not pretty.
Yeah, it still could happen here tonight, obviously. Just his first AB. Padres and Blue Jays underway and scoreless from Rogers Center. All right. We made something of this yesterday, Juan Soto. Remember, it was kind of like the Tatis. Is he sad? That was this commentary over the weekend. Like, is he a fit in a Mets uniform? And then it's continued because of what happened yesterday, because he just stared at a ball off of his bat that hit the green monster. And if you know anything about Fenway, you better get out of the box, because if a ball hits the green monster, it's a single if you don't get out of the box. Well, that's what happened. And the manager for the Mets, Carlos Mendoza, is saying he'll have a talking to Juan Soto. So we're a month into this 15-year deal, richest deal in the history of American sports. And Juan Soto is going to have a talking to from his manager, Carlos Mendoza.
It's a great start in New York for Juan Soto.
The one thing is they've been good. Like, it's not like the Mets have been an embarrassment.
No, they've been
that would be a disaster.
They've been a good baseball team.
Yeah.
But not the best first impression.
Right.
And that's on him, man. When you sign a $750 million contract, you immediately put all the pressure on yourself to be last year's player every game.
How much money did you say?
$750 million.
How about 765?
How about over 800 with incentives?
Exactly right. Plus that re-opting into an opt-in, I think puts it over 800.
Yeah, it's a part of the contract that he'll end up over the course of this deal making over $800 million.
It's crazy. Brian, what do you have?
I was going to say, I actually acquired audio of that conversation of the manager.
Oh, I like it. What does it got?
You lollygag your way down to first. You lollygag in and out of the dugout. Do you know what that makes you, Larry? Lollygaggers. Lollygaggers.
Lollygaggers. This is a quote from Soto last night. I think I've been hustling pretty hard. If you see it today, you can tell. Okay. Kind of an odd quote. Mendoza saying we'll talk to him about it. Listen, with Juan Soto, I can confidently say at the end of the year, his numbers are going to look good. They may not be MVP worthy. His year last year with the Yankees was phenomenal. He's had some ups and downs in there between the Nats, Padres, Yankees, and Mets. There's been better years than others. That's how it works with sports. But I wouldn't worry about Juan Soto if I rooted for the New York Mets. That wouldn't be a big worry I would say, let Juan be Juan for a little bit. Let him be himself. Let him get comfortable here. He'll have his 885 OPS or higher. And let's worry about something else, because Juan Soto's Juan Soto. We spent a lot of time worrying about Juan Soto here. Not we, but we collectively. He's not worth worrying over. It's Juan Soto. That's how I look at it. Is he, like, honestly, he's probably one of those players too, Jim, that he's kind of earned the right to, you can look at a ball here and there. I mean, it's like Manny, it comes with the territory.
Yeah, tell that to Mets fans.
No, I agree. You're right. That's a good way to look at it.
I mean, dude,
you're right.
It's just different in New York when, especially, you're getting all that money. If Juan Soto only signed even if he signed a $350 million contract, there would still be people upset with Juan Soto right now. But it wouldn't be as bad as it is at this moment.
Right.
And he's actually not had a great start to the season.
I mean, pull up the numbers. You're right. He hasn't hit in terms of average. You're right. But it hasn't been awful, has it? It hasn't been good.
Sitting 246 with 8 homers, 20 RBIs.
On base is always going to be good, right? It's
yeah,
the walks.
Yeah, his on base is going to be good.
Like 9.
No,
what is
it? For Juan Soto, this is down. He's at 376 with an 815 OPS.
Yeah, it is down. But 376 on a 246 batting average means you walk a ton.
Yeah.
If you're getting on base 376 on a 246 batting average. But no, I'm with you. And here's the other thing. Because you're in New York, this gets talked about. If this happened in San Diego, not on the back cover of the New York Post, not at ESPN.com. Would you agree? If Soto didn't leg out a ball off the green monster, how big of a story is that nationally if he plays for the Padres? Nowhere near the story it is with the Mets. Nowhere near the story. But you get what you sign up for. You signed up to play for the New York Mets. There's going to be a lot of critiquing day in and day out in a city like New York.
It's not even just the Mets. It's the money.
The money
is the reason. It's not the Mets.
Well, it's New York.
I mean, the New York, it definitely amplifies things, but the money makes it so much worse. As far as like the pressure, as far as the responsibility that you have.
Yeah, you're right.
You sign a contract that is the richest contract in the history of the sport by a good amount. Now, Ohtani, it's a little different.
No, but you're right.
He's not deferring anything here. He's not making $2 million a year and everything's deferred.
Right now he's getting his 50 a
year. Oh yeah, he's getting his money up front because that's what Scott Boras clients get. He picked the place with the most money, and that was New York. He was solely going there because of the money. And oh, by the way, it's in New York where he liked playing there last year. So because of that, the pressure is on you, and the expectations are that every time you go out there, you go 2 for 4 every night. That's what it is. And when you don't, and when you're slumping, it's going to be a problem, especially in New York with the Mets.
And you're right. It's not just the richest baseball contract. Patrick Mahomes isn't making that. Name your NBA star. Like LeBron James isn't making that. Steph Curry's not making. Nobody's making $765 anywhere in the world other than Juan Soto. All right, we'll continue to react on the other side. We'll get you ready for the conference finals. They get underway in an hour. And this hour, your chance to win a 4-pack of tickets to the San Diego County Fair. We'll let you know when to call. Plus, Kurt Heelan, NBC Sports, previews the conference finals at 5 p.m. This is John and Jim, San Diego Sports 760, and live on the iHeartRadio app.
This update is brought to you by Rapid Radios. Padres and Blue Jays underway in Toronto. Blue Jays lead the Padres 1-0 thanks to a Vladimir Guerrero Jr. home run in the bottom of the first inning. We are in the top of the second right now. And tonight, the Western Conference Finals gets underway in Oklahoma City. Thunder and T-Wolves tip off at 5:30. Rapid Radios are instant push-to-talk walkie-talkies offering national LTE coverage. No subscription ever. A great alternative to a mobile phone for your kids. For a limited time, go to rapidradios.com now for 60% off and free UPS shipping. Add code radio and get an extra 5% off.
All right, be listening for that goal call. And when you hear a call, 877-767-4760, you can qualify to win STFC tickets for May 31st. Here at Snapdragon Stadium, we'll qualify someone this hour and next hour, and then announce a winner coming up at 5:30. Also, we're giving away a 4-pack of tickets to the San Diego County Fair in about 15 minutes. Be listening. We'll let you know when to call for those tickets. I laughed out loud when you went to get your Reese's Sticks.
What'd you laugh out loud at?
I chuckled at a story
You chuckled. Went from laughed out loud to chuckle.
Well, that's the same thing because that's an outward laugh.
A chuckle's like,
yeah, so I did.
A laugh out loud is like,
no, I didn't do that.
So you chuckled.
I chuckled at this, all right? Because this story keeps getting more ridiculous. Report, Jordan Hudson, Bill Belichick's girl, not the engagement, whether that's true or not. Report, Jordan Hudson sought content approval and partial ownership of North Carolina's Hard Knocks series. And this is where the report comes from. Catherine Rossman, New York Times, reports this. There's a quote, demanded she be granted content approval and partial ownership of the Hard Knocks show. Wait, what?
What?
Like, it's getting odder as the days pass. Remember, they were scheduled to do the show, and then that ended quick. And it was because of maybe the role she was going to play. And now she wanted to be able to approve the content, and she wanted to own a piece of the action that was going to air. Something's amiss here. Right? Like something here continues to not add up in the Jordan Hudson, Bill Belichick, and the rest of the world watching this play out saga.
Did they get married?
Potentially. That's also a report today, right? She's telling people that they're engaged. Not married, but engaged. Engaged to be married.
If I, seeing all of these things that have come out with how she has turned into, or maybe from the beginning, just like controlling a lot of aspects of Bill's life.
Mm-hmm.
If I was a part of the family, I would be nervous because if they get married, who says there won't be some like type of will that has everything going to Jordan Hudson? Like once
That's
you're,
interesting.
You know what? Like once you're married, you can do things that, like I don't know. Again, if it was just simply a relationship and they got married, so who cares? Whatever. But it's like becoming more on the side. It's becoming like weirder and weirder with every story that comes out. You're like, that's interesting.
Right. The Athletic previously reported she played an instrumental role in stopping the show. And it was the New York Times today that reported that she demanded content approval. And with all due respect to Jordan Hudson, some of this is a little bit of stay in your lane. Like Bill Belichick's been he's been coaching football. Like content's being produced around sports a lot. Like, does Hard Knocks really need to like acquiesce to Jordan Hudson on how to do their show?
Well, if then all of a sudden Bill Belichick goes to Hard Knocks or whatever and says something on Jordan's behalf, they're going to probably listen to Bill.
Right.
Like if Jordan's like, I don't like that, Bill, go tell them to stop. And Bill tells him to stop. Are you saying that's on behalf of Jordan, right? Like Jordan's making Bill do this, or Bill's doing it because of Jordan, or
where's she going to be during the games?
Bro, she's going to be in the cheerleading section.
Is she going to be on the sidelines? Is she going to have a suite? Are they going to be like showing her in the booth constantly?
She's going to have a headset on.
She's going to be calling plays for Bill Belichick.
It's like, fourth down call. Should we go for it or not? And Jordan's like, go for it, Bill. Go for it.
No, you know how in college they always have the guy like has that big sign.
the
It's
sign
like, yeah,
with like a
that's your
duck on
job.
it.
Yep, that's her sign.
If I'm the
or her
opposing
job.
team, I am 100% making an audible call Jordan Hudson.
Oh, that's ridiculous. Yeah.
I am 100% like
Put her face on the sign.
if I'm
Oh my
Duke,
gosh.
if I'm Duke, I'm having a Jordan Hudson audible this year.
Yeah, or sign. I do like
Jordan
that.
Hudson, Jordan Hudson, Jordan Hudson.
Okay, does any part of you, okay, if you had to make a bet,
No.
would any part of the bet say he doesn't coach there? Like, would you be willing to put any money on him not coaching a game at North Carolina?
When's like the drop dead like date? No.
I think for him, never. I think he could walk away whenever he wanted,
One game?
or they could force him out.
One game.
Yeah, there's two different bets. 1+ game, and then maybe more than one year makes it through a year.
Makes it through a year might be tough. I would take the bet that he coaches at least one game there.
Are they going to be good?
I don't know.
Like, you get into college for the
Who's their
first time.
quarterback?
I have no idea. Like, what's their
Jordan
schedule?
Hudson.
What's their schedule? Like, what happens if they're not good? He's just going to be like going through the motions.
They've been getting a bunch of transfers.
Yeah, that's true. Maybe they will be good. I mean, maybe they will be good. I just find the story to be odd. And I think most people find the story to be odd. And it keeps getting odder. And the title here in the Times was Bill Belichick was always, how many times have we said this? Bill Belichick was always in control. Then he fell for Jordan Hudson. Like, that's an interesting way to look at it.
Why it's so, I guess, talked about in the media realm is that like Bill, his entire coaching career was so anti-tabloid, stay out of the news cycle, like just go about your business, do your job. The last thing that you want to do is become the story.
Mm-hmm.
And now Bill's become a story. And it's like the complete opposite of everything that he preached while in the NFL. That's why it's so shocking when you see the articles about how this woman is like inserting herself into every aspect of Bill's life to the point where it looks like from reports that she is controlling Bill.
What's odd to me too is they've been doing this book tour, right? A lot of this came to the surface when he's been promoting the book, CBS Sunday Morning, some other avenues of promotion. Why is he hawking this book so hard? He made over $200 million as a coach. 200
to try to get the story off of him and Jordan Hudson,
maybe, but it's like, do you really need to? Is this book so important? Like, hey, if it's the number one book, I'm going to make a lot of money. You have a lot of money. You've been coaching for forever at the highest level.
I will say, I did see an interview that he did with I forget where it was, but he was on like a podcast, and he was talking about Brady and like Ed Reed and Julian Edelman and Randy Moss.
Okay.
And I thought it was like very compelling where I was glued. I watched majority of his answers and I was very intrigued by what he was talking about. He, sharp.
Yep.
He just, they're good stories because it's behind the curtain of the 20+ year career that Bill had in the NFL when you couldn't get anything from Bill. And now you're getting the behind the scenes stuff, and it's all interesting stuff. And I thought that was like really compelling.
Yeah, I can see that. I'm all for that. There's been some compelling, and then there's been some awkwardness. The set of like a media day in Florida when he was asked about it, that was odd. We played you the audio. There was the CBS Sunday Morning. That was odd. You probably watched it. Maybe we played you some of that audio. He's an interesting guy. I mean, there's been a lot of very odd interactions with the media over the years with Belichick. But like you said, he always like diffuses it. A lot of what has made him unique is he's so uniquely boring.
Yeah.
In front of like the public eye, yet he has won at such a high level. This is not a boring story. In fact, it's a captivating story for a lot of people. This 73-year-old with a 24-year-old woman, and the way it's playing out and the role that she's playing in his professional life has captivated a lot of people. It's become a very big story.
I think it's manipulated into, after the CBS interview, young mid 20-year-old woman controlling a 70+ year old man and you put the 2 and 2 together, and it's like
it's a story.
It's a story.
By the way, 760 saying, and here we thought Michael would be the most powerful Jordan to ever run things at North Carolina. Good text from 760. You can text us 70470. Start it with the word team. At Rogers Center, the Padres and Blue Jays underway. It is a Vlad home run. Vlad Guerrero Jr. home run is the difference. And the Blue Jays have the early 1-0 lead on Dylan Cease. Now, Cease has been good coming in. His last couple of starts, he's allowed this solo home run. Padres offense has been quiet the first couple of innings against Chris Bassett. 1-0 Blue Jays.
I would hope that they could put some runs on the board tonight. It's not like Chris Bassett's had a bad year. He's actually had a pretty good season.
Yep.
Got a 3.04 ERA in 53 and a third innings, 1.24 whip with 58 strikeouts. So he's been good this year. But so far, just watching his stuff, I mean, they can't catch up to an 89-mile-an-hour fastball.
Yeah. And we'll see if this offense can get going because it didn't at home. It really didn't this past weekend against Seattle. All right. Call right now if you want a free 4-pack of tickets to the San Diego County Fair at the Del Mar Fairgrounds. This will get underway June 11th. It's through July 6th. If you want a free 4-pack of tickets to the San Diego County Fair, all you need to do is call right now, 877-767-4760. That's the number to call. Call right now, 877-767-4760. First 2 callers will be our contestants for trivia today. And all you need to do is call right now for a free 4-pack of tickets to the San Diego County Fair, 877-767-4760. Kurt Heelan, NBC Sports at 5 p.m. on the Eastern and Western Conference Finals. But call right now. This is John and Jim, San Diego Sports 760 and live on the iHeartRadio app. All right, John and Jim, San Diego Sports 760. Be listing for the goal sounder for a chance to qualify to win SDFC tickets. Also, Kurt Heelan, NBC Sports, will preview the conference finals for us coming up at 5 p.m. John and Jim with you until 6. And we've got another great giveaway we're going to do right now. 4-pack of tickets to the San Diego County Fair. So let's get underway.
All right, 3 questions, 2 contestants, 1 lifeline. Today's 2 contestants, we have Greg and we have Corey. Greg, you called in first, so you have your choice of John or Jim. Who do you want to go with?
I'll go with John today.
All right, so Greg and John?
Greg and John, Corey and Jim. Corey, you there?
Yes.
All right, perfect. You get Jim today. So, Brent, what is the question of the day?
All right, guys, as we mentioned earlier in the show, the Western Conference Finals get underway tonight. Today's question, who are the top 10 scorers in Minnesota Timberwolves franchise history? So we're looking for anybody in the top 10 in points scored, not like per game, in Timberwolves history.
Okay. Corey, you're up first. What is your first guess? You do have a lifeline if you want to use it.
Kevin Garnett.
Kevin Garnett.
Good guess.
Yeah, it's
on the list.
Greg, you're up next. What is your first guess? You do have a lifeline if you want to use it.
Anthony Edwards.
Anthony Edwards.
All right.
All right, there we go. For those 2 guys, might get a little tricky.
Right.
Corey, you're up next. What is your second guess? You do have a lifeline if you want to use it.
Karl Anthony Towns.
Karl Anthony Towns. Very good. Greg, back to you. What is your second guess? You do have a lifeline if you want to use it.
Kevin Love.
Kevin Love. Very good.
Wow. Good. Yeah, it really was.
Corey, to go 3 for 3 here. What's your final guess? You do have a lifeline if you want to use it.
Andrew Wiggins.
Andrew Wiggins.
Well done, guys.
Greg, big Timberwolves fans. Greg, back to you. Final guess, send this thing to overtime. You do have a lifeline. What do you got?
Let's go with the lifeline.
Lifeline, John, what do you got?
I have no clue. There's one Timberwolf in my brain. I think he's a Timberwolf. Wally Zerbiak.
Wally Zerbiak. Do you take that, Greg?
Yeah, I'll go with that.
I'm a genius. I should be like an NBA insider. Thank you, Greg.
Look at you.
I'm an NBA insider.
Great teeth, Wally Zerbiak.
Thank you.
Yes, great shot, too. And great hair and great jawline. All right, Brent, we're going to overtime. Give us the rules of overtime and then the question.
All right, guys, how overtime is going to work, I'm going to ask you another question. When I'm done asking the question, you're going to yell out the name of your partner today, either John or Jim. Don't yell out your name. Whoever yells out the name of their partner first, you are going to win the game by getting the question right, or you're going to lose the game by getting the question wrong. Do you guys understand?
Yes. Yep.
All right, guys, today's overtime question. Who is hosting tonight's Western Conference Finals?
Jim.
I heard Jim.
What do you got, Corey?
Corey. Corey.
Corey, what's the? Where is it?
Hello.
Yeah.
Hi.
Who's hosting the Western Conference Finals tonight?
Oklahoma City.
That is correct for the win. All right. He might not have heard us, but he's correct.
Yeah, there you go.
He is the winner. Oklahoma City will host and have home court. All right. Who else is on this very esteemed list?
It's a good list, actually. KG is obviously number 1. Then Karl Anthony Towns, Anthony Edwards is 3rd. Wiggins was 4th. Sam Mitchell was 5. Kevin Love was 6. Zerbiak was 7. Doug West was 8. Tony Campbell was 9. And, you know, we're talking about Duke, Christian Laettner.
Oh,
Christian Laettner is on that list.
Wow. Would not have guessed that.
We have, we mentioned this yesterday. Congratulations, by the way, because what you've won is a 4-pack of tickets to the San Diego County Fair. And this is going to be June 11th through July 6th. And this is going to be a pet lover's paradise, believe it or not. That is the theme. And you can join them for thrilling rides, challenging games, mouth-watering food, incredible exhibits, and top-notch entertainment during our summer pet Pet-tacular. Get it? Pet-tacular, Jim. At the 2025 San Diego County Fair. Tickets and info at sdfair.com. I had a point to make, and I forget what it was. It was such a good point.
Oh, man.
It wasn't that good of a point. I know what it was. That T-Wolves have never won a title.
Mm-hmm.
Thunder have never won a title, although Seattle did, if you want to play that game.
I'm not playing that game.
Do you play that game with the Warriors? Seriously, like, do you consider Warriors history in talking about the Warriors?
Well,
going back to like Philadelphia in terms of their history?
I mean, they retired Wilt Chamberlain's number, and they said Wilt Chamberlain played for the Warriors.
But he didn't play. Yeah, I got you. So you don't love playing that game?
I don't, because I view it from how long you've been in that
when they
city
got there.
for.
That's fine. So, okay, then let's say OKC is OKC, not Seattle. So they've never won. Pacers won in the ABA, but not in the NBA.
Nope.
And the Knicks,
I know,
once proud franchise, has not won since 1973.
You could say once proud franchise for the Knicks.
That's what I'm saying, because that's a true definition. They've only won 2 times ever, the New York Knicks.
Right. And they were, in the postseason like every year in the 90s.
But not in the 2000s.
No.
Right.
Totally different story in the 2000s.
Well, you remember what happened the last time they were in the finals, don't you?
Last time they were in the finals was OJ or no?
Yeah, OJ was driving the Bronco down the freeway.
Yeah, they
I remember
interrupted
watching the game.
finals.
Yeah.
Actually, that would be wrong, because last time they were in the finals was the NBA
the
shortened season against the
Houston?
Spurs.
Oh, Spurs. Short year. Weren't they the 8th seed?
Yes, that was Duncan's first NBA title, and that was the year that Larry Johnson did the 4-point play, and that was the last time they faced the Indiana Pacers in the postseason.
Was that a little?
Not in the postseason, but last time they faced them in a conference finals.
Is that kind of a little fake, that short year? Nobody talks about it like that.
They played 50 games?
It was 50 games, and they were the 8th seed. Maybe it wasn't. Nobody remember, because they remember COVID like you played in the bubble.
Mm-hmm.
They remember baseball COVID like you played 60 games. Right, give me a break. But this, the last time the Knicks were in the finals, good call, was during that short season.
Now, if you had like a 66 game season, that'd be like perfect.
Yeah, maybe that's just good in general. That's what Kurt Heelan was saying earlier.
I know.
Maybe you should play 70 games. It is a little long, and I've been hooked by the postseason. Ratings are really good. Ratings for the NBA have been really good for the postseason. It's been good. There's been good games. There's been bad games, but there's been incredible games. Like the Pacer comeback against the Cavs when Halliburton hit that 3. There's been 3-4 excellent games in the first couple of rounds, maybe more than that.
Let's be real here. They could do 70 games.
Yeah.
With the addition of the play-in tournament, with the addition of the in-season tournament.
Yep.
You can have a 70-game regular season and still be completely fine.
Completely. But the issue you run into is like 3-point records and point totals, and guys don't play 80 games.
But look at the NFL. Those records are going to get broken
the other way because they're playing more games.
Right.
Yeah.
So
records are made to change.
Yeah. Look, I think the leagues that have the long schedules like NHL and baseball and basketball, they'll never decrease. And they'll also never increase either. But they'll never decrease. So that's the problem. And it's like, it's always, we want more.
Should baseball go to 180?
Dude.
I think 162. Who was it? It was like 154. Let's move this thing to 162.
Even 154 is a lot.
That was in the 60s. After Maris, they went from 154 to 162. Who was like, I have an idea. It must have been expansion, but it made no sense. All right. On the other side, Kurt Heelan gets us ready for the Eastern and Western Conference Finals, which get underway in 30 minutes in Oklahoma City. So Kurt Heelan, NBC Sports, he will join us on the other side. Plus, another chance to qualify to win San Diego FC tickets for May 31st against Austin FC. When you hear the goal call 877-767-4760. All that ahead. Hour 4, John and Jim on San Diego Sports 760 and live on the iHeartRadio app.
Lozano went chuk chuk boom.
Conference Finals starts in OKC. T-Wolves and Thunder tip off at 5:30. During an asthma attack, every second feels like an eternity. Primatene Mist works fast. It's clinically shown to open airways quickly, providing quick relief of mild symptoms and intermediate asthma. Get the #1 FDA-approved over-the-counter asthma inhaler, Primatene Mist. Breathe easy again.
It's John and Jim to warm up that drive home.
Padres off an off day, Jim. We've talked about that. That's been beneficial for them before. They're coming off a sweep at the hands, obviously, of Seattle and looking to bounce back with Dylan Cease on the mound here this afternoon against Chris Bassett for the Blue Jays.
There's nothing better for a baseball team than after getting swept or just having like a really awful series than an off day.
Yeah.
Now, time for John and Jim.
All right, San Diego and Southern California, what's going on? This is the final hour of John and Jim, and you have one more opportunity to qualify to win San Diego FC tickets against Austin FC May 31st, not this weekend, but next, Snapdragon Stadium. All you have to do is call 877-767-4760 the next time you hear that goal call from Adrian Garcia Marquez, their play-by-play voice. When you hear the goal call, you'll know it. You call 877-767-4760. And then at 5:30, among our qualifiers, we'll announce the winner of those 2 free tickets. So be listening for that. But if you missed it earlier, we caught up with Kurt Heelan. And I'm trying to remember, Brent, where I started this conversation. All right. Okay. I love that. Kurt Heelan, NBC Sports. I love it maybe as I thought of it. NBC Sports lead NBA writer. Would he take the Thunder or the field to win the NBA Finals?
That's a good question, but I'll still take the Thunder. Can I be honest with you? I think they won the championship on Sunday.
Wow. Okay.
I think that was the toughest test. Minnesota is a really good team, but not the matchup issue for the Thunder. And I think the veteran experience of Denver, like they just knew how to win. I mean, if you're going to win a championship, you got to win some ugly games, right? Like you don't get to steamroll your way to a title. Even Boston last year, like you've got to win a few ugly ones. OKC has learned how to do that, and they had to learn how to do that to get past Denver, who is more than adept at that, despite having a pretty good center on that team.
Does the time off for the T-Wolves, do you think that could help them at all, or do you think it might hurt them here because OKC played on Sunday and they're in a groove, and I honestly forget the last time that the T-Wolves played, either Thursday or Friday of last week.
Yeah, it's been a little while, and they've had the jet fueled ready to go, but we're waiting to find out what city they were flying to. I'm really curious how that shakes out, because the flip side of that is, even though it was a blowout win, that was an emotional Game 7 that you're all up for, and you can't sleep the night before, and you're all geared up, and you get that win, and it's that sigh of relief, and like 48 hours later, you got a little over 48 hours, you got to turn around and play again. That's its own challenge, right? Like, I am really curious how the first half of tonight goes. Is it, are the Thunder mentally all the way, are they still a little rested? Are they still not quite up to this series? I don't think that's the case, but we'll find out. And the flip side is, we've seen it a couple times in these playoffs, man. Hey, they dominated the first round. They're rolling, and then they get rusty in those breaks. And I think I am worried about that for Minnesota.
Kurt Heelan with us right now, lead NBA writer, NBCSports.com. Let me ask it this way. Which to you would be the most compelling finals matchup among the four possibilities? Thunder Knicks, Thunder Pacers, T-Wolves Knicks, T-Wolves Pacers.
I think it'd be T-Wolves Knicks, because you get the whole Randall Towns, right? Like that preseason trade that we're like, oh, they salary dumped. That was a horrible move by Minnesota. And look, first off, I said that, and B, I was wrong. It took most of the year for Randall to figure out how to play next to Gobert, which anybody who's played next to Gobert will tell you, like they're privately off the record or on the record tell you, it takes a while. He's just different. It takes a while to learn how to defend next to him. It takes a while to learn how to play offense next to him. He's kind of a unique player that way. It took a long time for that and Anthony Edwards and everything to gel, but they're, I think, a little better now than they were a year ago, a little more versatile. And I love the way Randall has fit with them. And obviously Towns has been hand in glove in New York. He's been fantastic. He's going to have a big series if they're going to advance. So I love that storyline. I love that matchup. I'm not sure that's the one we're getting, but that's the one. I think that would be the most fascinating.
Yeah, Julius Randle's been fantastic this entire postseason. When you look at how the schedule of everything plays out, this has been a topic of discussion of late because of all the injuries and the hamstring pulls, and then the Achilles tendon pulls there. Do you think that this schedule needs to be lengthened out, or do you like how the schedule is and it's just kind of a coincidence with all these injuries?
I don't think it's a coincidence completely. I would love to see a little more time off in some of these second round series. My problem is I'm not sure. Look, Matt, I don't need it to go deeper. Like I don't think any of us need to see the NBA playing up until July 4th or something. Like, I don't think that's necessarily good for the league either. I could argue that the best way to do this is reduce the schedule to 70 games and start the playoffs earlier, but good luck with that. So,
yeah, right.
I would love to. I just logistically don't know how they get there. The other trick they could do is, and I would love this, return the first round to best of 5. It gives you a little more breathing room in the spacing, but also I think it just creates more drama. You're more likely to get a first round upset if Team X can, if your 7 or 8 seed can win game 1, suddenly it's a lot more interesting.
Yeah, it's a really good point. Kurt Heelan is with us right now. NBCSports.com on John and Jim, San Diego Sports 760. So we've touched on the Western Conference Finals a little more. How do you see this classic matchup, right? It's been a quarter century, but we get Knicks and we get Pacers. How do you see this playing out? Is this a long series for you?
Yeah, I think so. I think, look, I think when it came time to make my predictions and picks, I pulled out a quarter and flipped it. It's I think a really even series. The Knicks are more physical. They do have home court advantage. They seem to be having some kind of I don't know, my watch is going off. They seem to be able to find an ability. The Knicks just find ways to win, and the Pacers have done some of that too. They certainly had some clutch wins, but I think they're a little prettier brand of basketball. So it's going to be really fun to watch the Knicks defense trying to slow down the pace of the Pacers offense. And on the flip side, we're going to find out just how gritty and how down in the muck the Pacers are willing to get. It's such a great styles make fights, guys. And this is a great one.
Other than Brunson and Halliburton, who to you is the most important player in this series for either team?
I'm going to say Towns. He absolutely destroyed the Pacers. He had 40 points in the one game they played after the All-Star break. And granted, Miles Turner didn't play in that game and some other people. So it's not exactly apples to apples, but he had really good games against them all season. And I think that it's just a tougher matchup for the Pacers. That and Mitchell, and having Mitchell Robinson, they're just a different team with Mitchell Robinson defensively. I think that gives them a slight edge, but they're going to need a big town series if you're going to win this, because it can't be Jalen Brunson against the world.
No doubt about it. Kurt, away from the conference finals, obviously the Tatum injury is so significant for the whole landscape of the NBA, specifically in the Eastern Conference. And the Celtics already were rumored to have all this change heading into the offseason. What on earth are the expectations for the Boston Celtics going to be next season, in your opinion?
I think, look, at the end of the day, with whatever moves they end up making, they're going to be good, but it's going to be, I'm one of those people who subscribes to the fact it's essentially going to be a gap here. They're going to, I don't think they're going to be bad. I don't think they're going to tank all the way down to, try to get some high lottery pick, all injuries did it, but they're not going to be this year's Sixers, but they're not going to be contenders without Tatum. And I'm really curious how Brad Stevens chooses to use that, because look, last summer when they were celebrating the title, there were plenty of people around the league who said they can't sustain this, like financially. It's going to come calling. If they hadn't won the title this year, they'd probably already be looking to make some moves, but you win a title, you bring it back, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So they do, but now I'd be shocked if, look, Drew Holiday can help a lot of teams, but he's 35 right now. UCLA's own Drew Holiday. He's going to be 36, turning 37 when you get Tatum back full speed. It's just, I think they're going to move him. I think they'd love to move Kristaps Porzingis and his $30 million expiring. If somebody wants to pay him $30 million to be injured on their roster. But I think I think the big question, the one everybody knew they were going to try some stuff like that this summer. They kind of had to. The big question is Jaylen Brown. Like, if somebody like, I don't know, Houston, who has all these young players and picks, if somebody came through with a big enough offer, would they consider it for Jaylen Brown? I'd be really curious if they'd be willing to reset that much.
What's the likeliest scenario with the Giannis storyline this offseason? Did you envision that this is the end for him? And if it is, if you do believe that, where's the likeliest landing spot you think for him?
I've become torn on that, just because, look, to me, remember the great old Bill Parcells line, if you're thinking about being retired, you're retired.
Yeah.
And I think we've all done that, because I think that applies to, like, we've all been in relationships where we're like, we should end this. You were already thinking about it, but it took you a while to get there. I feel like that's where they are. Like, and if you're the Bucks, if he's back, you want him all the way back full time. And next year, again, they don't have Damian Lillard, tore his Achilles at an older age. He's never going to be quite the same, and you're probably not going to have him all of next season. I'm like, if I'm the Bucks, I'm going to say to him, like, oh, that's fine. We want you back, but I don't want to go through this a year from now. I don't want this same scenario a year from now if we struggle. If you're going to want out, let's do it now. Otherwise, you're all the way in. And I got a feeling he's going to ask out. And when that happens, the Spurs are a really logical landing spot to me, but we'll see if they're willing to go there. If they're willing to, I think they should accelerate their timeline that much, because I think it's like having an NFL quarterback who's really good as a rookie, like the Commanders right now. Like, man, you better load up that roster before you got to pay the quarterback off the rookie scale before it gets really difficult. I think they're kind of in that spot. So I would load up and do it. I don't know if they're willing to do that, or if it ends up being somebody like Miami or Brooklyn, or somebody who steps up with a deal that gets it done.
What do you think is just the best fit? Like, if they do go through with this, and Giannis does ask out, and they grant his request, and they do trade him, where's the best spot for him to win a championship right away, in your opinion?
As much as part of me says stay in the East, like go somewhere like Toronto. And again, the East will be down next year, and you could go somewhere like Toronto and instantly contend. But my guess is, unless he wants to go to a big, bright market, which is, look, that rumor is out there that he would prefer to be in brighter lights than he was in Milwaukee. San Antonio, to me, is still the best fit. If you put him next to Wembanyama, and look, the Spurs put together a really nice pack. You want the rookie of the year and the number 2 pick, so you can get Dylan Harper. Your backcourt is now set for the future. You can make a really good. They've got the matching salary. They've got other future picks. I think you can put together a really good deal. Fox, Wembanyama, and Antetokounmpo next to each other is just, even in the West, you're now right at the top of the list of contenders. And I think that, and they'd be there for a few years, and Wembanyama continues to get better. So that's where I would think is the best basketball fit for him, but I don't know if that's where he wants to be, because San Antonio may not be the most glamorous of markets.
Kurt, love your insight and perspective. And again, for our listeners, you can read the work at NBCSports.com as you get ready for the conference finals getting underway in less than 2 hours. But Kurt, thanks for taking time for San Diego, and we'll do it again soon.
I love to. Anytime, guys.
All right, that was Kurt Heelan, NBC Sports. All right, on the other side, there is a Shohei Ohtani twist
involving his former interpreter, Ipe.
Oh, yes, there is. And we'll share it with you on the other side, plus updates from Rogers Center where the Blue Jays and Padres are playing. Jim's back page coming up. This is John and Jim, San Diego Sports 760, and live on the iHeartRadio app. All right, San Diego Sports 760 has 13 chances to win $1,000 every weekday with the Bonus Bucks giveaway every hour, 6 a.m. through 6 p.m. That includes coming up in about 30 or 40 minutes. Listen for the keyword, then enter it at sportsSD.com. All right, where does this saga take us? Shohei Ohtani and his ex-translator. How do we say the guy's name? I forget. Ippei or
Ippei Mazahara.
All right, so what's the update? What's the twist related to Shohei and the ex-translator?
Well, the lead prosecutor of the betting investigation has resigned.
Are they still prosecuting, or has he already been tried and convicted?
In the Post has confirmed, the New York Post, the government's ace prosecutor investigating Shohei Ohtani and betting on baseball has quietly left the mound, the Post has confirmed. Quote, "It's never good for the prosecution when the lead prosecutor leaves the government."
Wait, what are we talking about? Hasn't he already been found guilty?
Well, this is quote, "You can only hope this will remain a priority."
Wait, I'm confused.
Assistant U.S. Attorney General, Assistant U.S. Attorney, I'm reading, Jeff Mitchell, led the investigation into Ohtani's interpreter, Ippei Mazahara, and explored whether Ohtani himself bet on baseball games. He resigned from his office on May 16th, and he will get paid through September, sources said, and the Central District of California press office confirmed. Mitchell led the prosecution of Ohtani's interpreter. U.S. District Judge John Holcomb on February 6th sentenced Mazahara to 57 months in prison for illegally and without authorization transferring nearly $17 million from the bank of Ohtani to pay off his own gambling debts.
All right, so he's already been sentenced. So like you know what I mean? Like, okay, the prosecutor left, but he's already been sentenced. There was no active investigation. Correct me if I'm wrong. Was there some open investigation around Shohei?
Well, this is in the article saying that players like Shohei Ohtani and his former teammates at the Angels can, quote, sleep easy at night, knowing that the lead prosecutor has resigned.
That's weird, man. Not the lead prosecutor part, but the New York Post saying Ohtani and his former teammates can sleep easier. I thought baseball already put it to bed. Ohtani had no involvement.
Well, this is not part of baseball.
But I didn't think he was part of any type of an investigation.
Said this might help Ohtani and former LA Angels player David Fletcher and former Dodger player Yasiel Puig to sleep a little easier, a source close to the situation said.
Yasiel Puig? Yeah.
Quote, "It's never good for the prosecution when the lead prosecutor leaves the government. You can only hope this will remain a priority." He was paid off.
You're saying the lead prosecutor?
Bro.
MLB investigated. They said he was the victim of fraud.
Okay, well, this is not MLB, John. This is like
but there's no
U.S. attorney.
No, but you've covered this story as much as anyone. Are you telling me, because I'm reading this too, are you telling me there was some type of an investigation still underway that could have tied Shohei Ohtani? I thought this was closed not just MLB wise, but like legally.
Well, John, there was still
something going on.
A prosecutor looking into
it.
Ohtani and his teammate David Fletcher. It's just weird how all of a sudden he doesn't just drop the case. He just quits.
He's just out.
And he leaves. And he's done.
Right. This probably makes it more likely this is all done.
He was paid off.
I mean, baseball would have a big issue if something were to happen to Ohtani, you know?
Yeah. And you don't think that everybody's doing trying their hardest to make sure that Ohtani is squeaky clean here? Like squeakier than clean?
Right.
Again, I will never, it's hard for me to ever believe that Ohtani knew nothing.
Yeah, that part to me has always been a little suspect as well. Like, what did he know? Not to say that he was involved. Like, he was the one that was actually betting, but like, did he not know anything? Like, being naive a defense is always my point. When you have millions of dollars leaving your accounts and you just weren't aware of that, I mean, I guess, according to Major League Baseball, Major League Baseball cleaned that thing up quick.
Oh,
The
yeah.
investigation lasted like a day.
He's their golden boy, man.
He certainly has been. He hit his 17th home run last night.
And the MLB Twitter accounts and their social accounts, they loved it, even though the team was trailing 7-1 at that moment.
Yeah.
It really reminded me of when he was with the Angels.
Right.
Like Ohtani, his 17th home run.
His
amazing. Dodgers trail or Angels trail 7-2 now.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, we'll keep you updated on that story. I don't know if there is a story there, but we will keep you updated on that story. We're also keeping you updated on the Padres.
I firmly said earlier in the show that the Padres would have a good road trip and that the off day was going to help them, and then they were going to be energized and they were going to put some runs on the board, and Jackson Merrill and Manny Machado would get out of their slumps that they're in. Yeah, I was wrong.
Not yet. Not yet on the trip. It's the 5th inning, and Anthony Santander and Vlad Jr. have both homered tonight, and the Blue Jays lead the Padres 3-0. Remember, the Padres didn't score during that series against the Mariners by and large. 1 run each game, and they've been shut out through 5 innings tonight.
Do you know what Anthony Santander has done this season? Without looking.
I don't. We looked it up as Rule 5. I want to say he's been very good.
What's the opposite of very good?
Very bad.
He's hitting 181 with a 569 OPS.
How many homers?
5.
Ugh, he's been awful. He just took C-Steep for a 2-run home run.
That was his 5th home run right there tonight.
Oh, he's been awful.
Yep.
So have the Padres here over the last 4 games.
Oof.
Still time in this one, but trailing 3-0. All right, we'll have the winner of those SDFC tickets for you on the other side. Our giveaway winner, more on Padres Blue Jays in the Western Conference Finals, and Jim's back page ahead on John and Jim, San Diego Sports 760, and live on the iHeartRadio app.
This update's brought to you by Temecula Valley Balloon and Wine Music Festival. Padres and Blue Jays. Blue Jays lead the Padres 3-0, top of the 6th inning there. Moving over to the Western Conference Finals. It's about to get underway in Oklahoma City as the T-Wolves take on the Thunder. And then tomorrow night, the Eastern Conference Finals gets underway in New York between the Pacers and the Knicks. Temecula Valley Balloon and Wine Music Festival is happening June 20th through the 22nd, featuring Walker Hayes, Cody Jinks, Alabama, and more. Tickets are available now at TemeculaValleyFestival.com. Powering the best events from start to finish. Events.com.
All right, we have a winner of the STFC tickets May 31st, Snapdragon Stadium against Austin FC. It's in the rundown.
Well,
and he told us.
I know he did it, but I forgot.
And your mic is off.
I know he did it, but I forgot.
Anyway, it's going to be 2 tickets to STFC Austin FC. California Bank and Trust, by the way, giving away tickets to the upcoming match. It's the summer kickoff match featuring a beach towel giveaway. So you love that with summer around the corner. All right, let's get a drum roll for our winner that Jim will announce.
Congratulations to Milo. Milo is the winner of the STFC tickets. Get there early, because if you get there early, you're going to get a beach towel.
That's exactly right. And that's May 31st. And tomorrow we're going to have the SDFC GM, Tyler Heaps, with us at 2:30 in the afternoon. So join us tomorrow. I think we might have another giveaway tomorrow.
We do.
Yeah, we do. It's all week long.
All week long.
So we're going to be giving away tickets for that match, which is less than 2 weeks away, all week long. And Tyler Heaps will join us tomorrow at 2:30. So looking forward to that.
Awesome.
What happened to our feed here, our broadcast?
Interesting.
Yeah, it's very interesting. We're keeping an eye on a couple of things. Western Conference Finals is about to get underway. All right. We have Thunder T-Wolves from Oklahoma City about to get underway. We've got Padres Blue Jays well underway tonight from Rogers Center. Tomorrow we have Knicks Pacers. Are we willing now to have we made NBA Finals predictions?
No. Do you want to do that?
Yeah, kind of.
All right. What do you got?
I'm going to tell you it's Thunder Pacers.
Okay. I will go with T-Wolves Knicks.
I like it. Sushi roll?
No.
Not for a sushi roll. Okay. The Thunder, who just had a Kurt Heelan. Maybe we should play the interview back. We just had Kurt Heelan on. He said he felt as if the Thunder's title was won on Sunday against the Nuggets. That once they won that game, they put themselves in a position where he took them over the field. He wouldn't take any of the other 3 teams over the Thunder. You're not as convinced, though, on the Thunder winning the NBA title, right?
They are, I guess, technically the best team remaining.
Mm-hmm.
When you go through a 7-game series like that early on in the postseason, I don't know if that screams that you're going to win the title.
Right.
I don't know. Like 7-game series in the conference finals, like you can go on and win the championship, but 7-game series in the second round, I don't know.
Not as convinced.
Again, I'm completely wrong. Don't have numbers in front of me, but I just feel like the last however many handful of champions, they didn't encounter a 7-game series until at least like the Western Conference Finals, Eastern Conference Finals, or I don't remember the last time there was a 7-game series in the NBA Finals, but you get my point.
How household does either Edwards or SGA become if they win it? Like, do they get to that next stratosphere of player? Maybe Anthony Edwards is already there.
I think Anthony Edwards does. I don't think SGA does.
Okay.
He's going to win the MVP this year. He deserved it.
Mm-hmm.
He has the numbers. For whatever reason, there's something about his game that I'm just like, nah.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
Well, you've talked about it, like his just propensity. I guess he relies so heavily on getting to the free throw line.
Yeah. Now, he is not super flashy. He's not Steph Curry or like LeBron James but he is very efficient. I don't know. I think Anthony Edwards to me has an opportunity to become a bigger star. Now, you could also say, well, Anthony Edwards was on the Olympic team this summer. Shea's not American. He's Canadian.
Mm-hmm.
So for that reason, maybe there's a thing there, but I think Anthony Edwards has the higher ceiling as far as stardom goes.
I agree.
Than SGA, in my opinion.
You made a good point. I agree with you. What do you got, Brian?
Last time the NBA Finals had a game 7.
Yeah, I know. 2016. Yeah.
And before that, 94.
Yeah, what happened, John?
Well, I don't even know, but the way you say it, it's when the Warriors had the 3-1 lead and then blew it.
Yes. That would be the last time there was a 7-game series.
NBA Finals. Yeah. Okay. Well, let's see if one of these conference finals goes 7. I don't see why not. I don't see why Knicks Pacers couldn't be a 7-game series. I don't really see why Oklahoma City, Minnesota couldn't be a 7-game series.
I think that Knicks Pacers is a better shot at 7 games than Thunder T-Wolves.
Okay. Yeah, you weren't a big believer in the T-Wolves even after they beat the Warriors. I mean, the Warriors didn't have Steph, obviously. That was a huge, huge loss.
I just think they have a problem with keeping their energy level up all the time. Because game 1, they just didn't look right. Even game 3 and 4, well, game 3 especially, and game 2. Game 2 was, I think, kind of close. I don't remember. Right. I just after that series, I was like, they kind of struggled at times with the Warriors, and they blew them out in game 5. But I just think that if Steph was there, it would have been a completely different story. That's the thing.
Yeah, no, I completely agree with that. All right, so we'll keep you updated on that. That game's about to get underway. We're talking about Oklahoma City and Minnesota. Meanwhile, the Padres trailing in Toronto, although Jackson Merrill has come to life, Jim. With a single.
He did it.
A 2-out single in the 6th inning.
It's over. The curse is over.
Now, he had been 1 for 21 prior to that hard hit single. Manny, by the way,
is 0 for his
last 15.
15.
And just flied out to center field. Padres offense, man. You know, this is the thing sometimes over the course of a long year. Like when it's tough to score, it's tough to score. And it has absolutely been tough to score for the Padres these last handful of days. Remember, and I was the one to say, I said, listen, let's judge them when they get Merrill and Arise back and Cronenworth. I'm like, we're not seeing the full version of this team. And guess what? We are seeing.
This is the full version.
And the problem is they are flawed, obviously, in the back of this lineup. And when guys like Merrill Machado aren't producing, this isn't rocket science. When you have 8 and 9 hitters that can't hit, and then you have some of your stars going through slumps, which are inevitable, you end up in a week like this. And the last 4 or 5 days have been tough to watch for Padres fans.
They're not stringing hits together. Yep. It's hard to have rallies when there's always 2 outs when those rallies start. They don't have any power. Like they're not hitting home runs other than Tatis.
Right.
So it's going to be difficult. Like that's what last year's team did so well. They strung together innings where they had just hit after hit after hit.
Mm-hmm.
And they were good with runners in scoring position. This year's team's good with runners in scoring position too, but they're not stringing together as many hits as you would like. It's just not happening. And especially when you're trying to have rallies with 2 outs all the time, those are difficult.
JD's third in the chat. Jim's voodoo worked. 619er, the sorcery worked. Thanks, John. Stephen Lake, the candles worked.
He had one hit, and he had an opportunity with runner scoring position this game when he struck out.
I think they're kidding. I don't think one single is going to necessarily turn Merrill around. Now, I did promise 2 hits tonight.
I mean, all he needed was maybe just 1 hit.
Maybe, potentially. He's too good of a hitter, seriously. And that is a fair thing to say about Merrill because we have not seen, thankfully, much prolonged stretches from Merrill where it's like weeks on end. So hopefully that'll be the case even with this. All hitters go through it. Manny's going through it right now. Toddy went through it earlier. Remember the Arise start this year?
Yeah, it was awful.
He started 13, 15 or whatever it was. Yeah, so all players are going to go through it. So hopefully Merrill's going to bounce out of it. But again, Padres offensively, behind Dylan Cease here tonight. Cease has allowed a couple of home runs. Chris Bassett has been terrific tonight for the Blue Jays. We'll see if they can mount a late rally tonight in Toronto, trailing 3-0 in the 6th inning.
And we'll have a wrap-up show later for you tonight.
Hopefully,
are you
a good one?
Are you prepared for a full week of wrap-up shows without me?
No. That's why you're going to call in from Hawaii,
dude. 0 chance.
No, I'll be fine. I don't even know who they play when you're gone or what's happening. Well, is that the Pirates Marlins week?
Yeah, but also the Braves this weekend.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I'll be fine.
Okay. I know you.
Stay there.
I'm gonna get text messages.
Well, yeah,
Send me
I'm
a
gonna
graphic.
need to tell me how to get the
Send me a
graphic.
graphic.
Yeah,
Send me a
you're
graphic.
gonna, well, just give me the graphics.
I know, dude. If I give you the graphics, they're gonna be like 2-bit pictures that are like overlapped with each other that look like Jones did it.
Well, I'm gonna need some graphics because I got to do John and Jim shows and wrap up shows.
Why is it so hard for you?
It's not hard
to get like a picture that isn't as pixelated as,
because I don't use Getty images, dude. I grab some image and I save it and I post it.
You got to use Getty.
I don't know how to use Getty.
You can't just use some random picture on the internet.
That's what I do because when I use Getty, it says like to download this image, it'll cost $50,000. I'd rather not spend 50 grand
John,
and use the image off the web.
The station has a Getty account.
Yeah, I know, but it doesn't work for me. Listen,
It's the same for everyone.
As I get older, you've noticed this. I'm not great with all this stuff.
Well, I
just
know
don't,
that
because I truly don't care.
I know you don't.
So, and
the care factor is very low.
You're really good with it.
Are you looking forward to when you're on the beach in Hawaii when you get the
No.
text
Yeah,
from us
I get a
going,
text.
"Hey, the stream's not working. What do we
Why
do?"
do we sound like we're on helium? Stream's not working in the graphic you didn't send me.
I'm gonna be in a helicopter on my way to the Hana rainforest, and you'll be like, "Hey, the stream's not working, and I need a graphic."
Right.
And then I'm gonna be doing that on the plane or the helicopter, missing the sights of Hawaii.
Hey, Erin knew what she was getting into. This wasn't, you guys dated before you got married. Take the good with the bad.
Or counterpoint, I could just turn my phone off.
You can turn your phone off if you leave the country, but you're going to Hawaii, so you have to keep it on. All right. On the other side, we have Jim's back page, updates from Rogers Center and the Western Conference Finals here until 6 p.m. This is John and Jim. All right, John and Jim, San Diego Sports 760. Join us again tomorrow, beginning at 2 p.m. Tyler Heaps, General Manager, San Diego FC, on the show at 2:30. Kevin Acey back with us tomorrow before Game 2, Padres Blue Jays. So join us tomorrow at 2 p.m. SDFC tickets to give away tomorrow. San Diego County Fair tickets to give away. But wait, there's more. I don't know what else there is.
What have we got?
But there's at least that.
We're recapping game 1 of the Western Conference Finals.
Western
Getting you ready for game 1 of the
Conference.
Eastern Conference Finals.
Correct. All of that.
SDFC Midweek Live tomorrow at 6 p.m.
By the way, Thunder, will they get shut out? 8-0 T-Wolves.
Oh, nice.
So in Oklahoma, 8-0 a minute in.
Oh, this
is that
series
game
over.
done?
No, the series is over.
This series is done, right?
Yeah, T-Wolves
8-3 a minute in.
Woo!
8. Wow. Does any team come back from 8 points?
Will the Padres score more runs than the Thunder will
This
score
is-
points?
Thunder on the board is 8-1.
So the Thunder, yeah.
Yeah, probably. The Thunder are now leading the Padres 1-0. So, lot for you tomorrow at 2 p.m. Kevin Acey, Tyler Heaps, SDFC tickets, San Diego County Fair tickets. Join us tonight for a wrap-up show. But as always, right now, let's get to this.
All right, Mr. Card Collector.
Yeah. What do you have for it? You have a card story for
I have
me?
a card story.
Woo!
Ranking the top 10 most important sports cards of the 1990s.
Okay. How would we do that?
Well, this list was generated by card collectors and auction sites and just the overall values of these cards. So here are the top 10 most valuable cards of the 90s. So for you, if you're starting a card collection, you want to look for these cards. Now they're probably impossible for you to get because they're so expensive, but
Can I guess one?
Yeah, guess one.
Michael Jordan's Playground.
Ooh.
Stay tuned.
Okay. So when you say expensive, how much are they? Well, are you going to tell us as you go through them?
I don't have the okay, here's the
Okay,
price.
let's
All
hear
right.
it.
So
Number 10.
at number 10, the 1997 Skybox EX Allen Iverson Essential Credentials Now card.
Okay. Do we have value?
It recently sold for more than $700,000.
All right. We need that.
It was a PSA 5.
Wow.
The all-time record for any Iverson card was set in February when this
Wow.
PSA 5 card sold for more than $700,000.
Okay.
All right.
Number 9.
Number 9, the 1994 SP Foil Alex Rodriguez card. A Gem Mint 10 sold for $39,000.
Okay.
That's a Mariners card, right?
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Number 8. It's a 1998 playoff contenders ticket Peyton Manning signed autograph Gem Mint 10 card.
How much?
To date, the record public sale for the Manning's card is $71,000 paid for a PSA 10.
Okay.
Next up, we got the 1992 Stadium Club Beam Team Shaquille O'Neal card. All right.
Mm-hmm.
A PSA 10 peaked in March 2021 when sold on eBay for more than $30,000.
Wow. All right.
We got I would love this card. A 1990 Score Bo Jackson Gem Mint card with Bo Jackson wearing the
I know the
football.
card. Yeah.
He's holding the baseball bat and the football pads. This card, a PSA 10 in 2025, sold for $10,000.
Okay. Good money.
Very good money. Number 5, a 1996 SI for Kids Tiger Woods card.
We all had that at some point.
The record sale for a PSA 10 came in May 2023 when Fanatics Collect sold one for $45,000. And it was it was a Beckett 9.5.
Wow. Okay.
Coming in at number 4, a 1990 Topps no name on the front Frank Thomas Gem Mint card. Gem Mint 10, excuse me. As of May 2025, PSA has created more than 25,000 copies of the card. There's only 300 that are Gem Mint 10s. It sold as recently as 2022 for $170,000.
Wow. What else?
Top 3. Can you guess the top 3?
Well, the Brent card.
Okay.
Something. Did you say Jordan, Brent?
Yeah, the Michael Jordan's playground.
I'll say 2 Jordan cards are in the top 3.
The Mark Jackson card?
A Mark Jackson card? No.
No, because remember, he has that one card where in the background, like the Menendez brothers or something, or so it's like a rare card.
I'll say at least 2 of them are Jordan, and I'll give you a Kobe.
So
I'd say 2 Jordans and a Kobe.
Okay. 1 Jordan, 1 Kobe.
Yeah.
The other is a 1993 SP foil Derek Jeter Gem Mint 10 card.
Okay, that makes sense.
The record sale for the card is $600,000 in 2022.
Okay.
Coming in at number 2, a 1996 Topps Chrome Kobe Bryant pristine Beckett 10 card. The record sale for this card back in 2021, so the value's gone way up.
Yeah, how much?
$1.75 million.
Wow. And number 1 is Brent's card?
It's not Brent's card.
Okay.
But it is Michael Jordan. A 1997 Metal Universe, Michael Jordan's Precious Metal Gems, Beckett 8.5 near mint card.
Wow. How much?
To date, the public record for any Jordan PMG from the 1997 Metal Universe set is sold, or is at $915,000 paid in 2020. 1 Jordan jersey autograph from the set sold for $2.7 million at a private event in 2021.
Here is my advice. We should have bought all those cards.
I know.
In the 1990s, then held them until 2025, and we would have $6 million.
I legitimately was up last night
thinking about that.
Couldn't sleep because I know for a fact that I had some epic Pokemon cards that I have somewhere. They're somewhere.
Your mom didn't throw them out?
And I don't know. I talked to my brother. He's like, they're in the attic.
You got to get up there, dude.
But he claims them to be his.
Oh my gosh. That would be no. Get there first.
He's like, I'm not selling them. I'm like, I don't want to sell them.
I'm going to take them.
But I might take them.
Yeah, you're going to take them.
Anyway.
What else you have?
What else do I got? Sesame Street, John, is moving to Netflix.
Oh, interesting. I think I saw something on that. Like all of the episodes?
They're new episodes. Sesame Workshop, the nonprofit educational organization behind Sesame Street, made 2 announcements that the show Sesame Street will soon reach more children in more places than ever before as they are expanding to Netflix.
Okay.
They're also going to keep their 50-plus year relationship with PBS and PBS Kids active.
Got you.
So
you can also watch on Netflix.
Also watch it on Netflix.
Love that.
Yeah. And finally, John, as I pull this story up here, stand by. Stand by, John.
Yeah, I'm standing.
Stand by and watch your card collectors.
Mm-hmm.
All right, here we go. Carl's Jr. is releasing a new BYOB, bring your own deal.
Okay.
With a sandwich, a side, and chicken stars for $5.99. Carl's Jr. is serving up major value with its new build your own bag deal, offering a sandwich, a side, a 4-piece chicken stars for just $5.99. Available from 8 p.m. to close, the late night offer lets customers mix and match between a Cali Classic burger or chicken sandwich, a side of their choice, and a mini serving of Carl Jr.'s iconic chicken stars. The deal is part of a limited time partnership with social media star Alex Earl. You know who that is? Bringing attention to one of the best fast food bargains out there right now.
Alex Earl?
Yeah, she's like a model.
Oh, I thought it was a dude.
No.
Okay, Alex Earl.
She got famous for just being hot. Like,
all right.
And she was dating like a wide receiver from the Dolphins.
And she now works with Carl's Jr.?
She's just an influencer.
Right, an influencer.
And then she like was hanging out with Call Her Daddy, Alex Earl.
Right.
And she got big there. And then she like left. I don't know.
Right.
She's just an influencer that
do we need her on the show? Like in general?
Yeah.
Not necessarily.
I want to see would pass.
Pass. Okay.
I would pass. Hard pass.
All right, because she just texted and said she'd come on, but now she's not.
Okay, that's good.
She'll
All
come
right.
on next week when you're gone.
Yeah, exactly. She'll co-host with me.
Oh, okay, nice.
Join us on Monday, even though it's a Memorial Day and there's no show. All right, we're back tomorrow at 2 with more SDFC tickets to give away. Tyler Heaps, the GM for SDFC, will be on the show. Kevin Acey from Toronto will join us again. We'll get you ready for Padres Blue Jays game 2. We'll look back at game 1 as well. If you missed anything today, sportssd.com or the iHeartRadio app. For Brent and Jim, I'm John. Keep it here at San Diego Sports 760.
Okay.
Bye.
Score a run.
Please.